Did I stutter?
He has time, launches it to the end zone. Touchdown! Terrence Williams!
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
The 2011 winner of the Heisman Trophy is Robert Griffin III, RG3!
Welcome to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Langoliers, base hit to center, and the Baylor Bears win their first Big 12 tournament championship.
And their fat little girlfriends are telling them what they want to hear, which is how great you are.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Hello? You play to win the game.
Yep, just ready for OU.
You can't handle the truth.
Here's Drake Toll.
Welcome into the Pickell to Glow T Bears Den. It is Wednesday, folks. The eve. This be the eve of March Madness. Match Madness. Tomorrow's the day. Things kick off in the preliminary rounds. The rounds of where there's like the random 8 teams are like, hey, you did all right. You did just all right enough to make it this close to the round of 64. You're going to play in a play-in game. Play-in games take place tomorrow. Today, though, we got NIT action for the first time in what feels like centuries. College basketball is back. For the first time since the bracket was released, we're going to see some NIT action. Have you seen the NIT bracket yet, Armstrong? Right, there's no reason to. There's not a lot of reason to care. And today, there's not a lot of reason to care about the games that are going down in the NIT. Happy Wednesday. We got Toledo and Richmond squaring off, Western Kentucky and St. Mary's. But no matter what, it's college basketball, and it is here. Today, we got a big show for you. We're breaking things down across the bracket as we've been doing all week long. In honor of March Madness, we are releasing our new bracket here on Uptempo, the Disney Movie Madness, meaning today on this amazing Wednesday, we're kicking it off with a tough matchup between Toy Story and Cars, and on the other side, Toy Story 3 and Brave. Also in today's show, 11:20, Evan Miyakawa, college basketball analyst who crunches all the numbers, does all the analytics, joins our show. The Green and Blank game at 11:55. Casey Lightfoot, That's right, Big 12 champion. He comes on at 12:05. Right before that, we'll hear from Scott Drew, about 10 minutes of Scott Drew's press conference from yesterday where he talked about Baylor and Hartford's matchup Friday at 2:30. We've got Paul Biancardi. That's right, ESPN analyst Paul Biancardi. He is on at 12:30 today to talk all things bracket college basketball. Adam Randall, singer, former assistant coach for Hartford men's basketball, joins the show as well. And then the Blonde Boys Power Hour at 1:05 today, where J.D. Pickell will come on. We'll talk all things bracket. We'll pick our top 10 upset matchups on this thing so far, and we'll open up the phone lines to do celebrity birthdays, this day in sports history, and the green and blank game. All right. Here's what we got to get into. Last night in college athletics across Baylor, big news was Sherry Cole outside of Baylor. Big news was Sherry Cole retiring this morning from Oklahoma. Oklahoma women's basketball coach was there for 25 years, all right? She went to 3 Final Fours. She was one of Kim Mulkey's stiffest competitions coming into the Big 12. Both of those toe-to-toe every year in tough matchups. And then the bottom falls out. Sherry Cole, what did I say, Armstrong? She's 57, 56? 56? She's 56 years old, and she's retiring from Oklahoma in what can only be assumed to be hey, Sherry, either you retire or we retire for you. And she decided to retire. I would assume Sherry Cole comes back to coach college basketball again, but the downtrend in her tenure at Oklahoma, she was supposed to make the tournament this year, and it just didn't matriculate, and Sherry Cole is out at OU as the head women's basketball coach, and speculation at Iowa State that a hire may be made for their men's basketball coach. Yesterday in golf, the men's team is tied for 9th place right now at the George Hannon Invitational. Softball beats Stephen F. Austin 3-2 to continue their win streak, and baseball extends their win streak to 8 straight with a 10-8 win against UTSA. Now on the Impact Health Labs caller line, 254-339-1122. Call us, text us, same number. Steven from Virginia, you're on with Uptempo. What's going on, Steven? It's a really quiet Steven today.
Hold on, we're having a problem with
technical issues on our end?
Technical issues on our end, yes.
Okay.
Steven is out there listening.
Steven's still with us.
Hold on.
Yeah, Steven, if you got us, hold on one second. Recapping again, last night's wins in softball and baseball. I got to catch some of the softball game. A 3-2 game, tied 2-2, going into the 6th inning where Baylor was able to notch that winning run. Sydney Holman Manziel for Baylor gets the win. She is now 5-0 on the season. It was Gia Rodoni that started the game. Aaliyah Binford came in to pitch later on for Baylor, and then Sydney Holman Manziel ends up coming in, getting the win, and closing things out for Baylor in the end last night against a really good SFA team that had won 9 straight games coming into the game in Waco. So a one-run win is plenty acceptable. Nikki Dawson last night, unbelievable. She's the fastest player that I've ever seen play on dirt. She had multiple stolen bases, including a pass ball where she stole from second base all the way home. Not that rare. While it's not that rare, it's something I haven't seen in a while, right? I mean, everybody's seen it happen, but Nikki Dawson, the speed to do it. Other highlights from last night, Dawson had 2 hits. Hannah Smith Aaliyah Binford notched a hit as well. Goose McGlawn, Zadie LaValle, the freshman, added to that as well. On the baseball side of things, 10 runs last night. One of my favorite things that I saw yesterday on Twitter, someone tweeted and was like, this Baylor baseball team is so hot, UTSA may allow a record amount of runs in 4 games. And the UTSA baseball account liked the tweet that said that Baylor may score a record amount of runs against UTSA. Box score from last night's game, winning pitcher Jacob Ashkenos. Baylor down 2-0 early in the game. At the bottom of the first inning, down 2-0. Baylor puts up a 5 spot. They end up being tied at 5-5, going up 6-5, going up 9-5. A home run from the unbelievable freshman Jared McKenzie makes it 10-5, and then Baylor closes it out 10-8. 11 hits, 3 errors, 10 runs for the Bears last night. 8-7-0 for UTSA, and it was Jacob Ashkenos with the win. So again, Baylor baseball and softball both sweeping last night. Undefeated, 2-0 on the Diamonds. And now Stephen from Virginia, you are on, hopefully safely, on the Impact Health Labs caller line. Stephen, what's going on?
Hey, guys, if you got me now, I think I can hear y'all now.
Can you hear me now? How about now? I got you now.
Can y'all hear me? I can hear y'all.
I got you, Stephen. I was just yanking your chain.
We're here. We're in it. So I'm glad I'm here with y'all now after a couple of hard days of work. My lunch break finally lined up, but I wanted to do a little bracket analysis. Y'all still got me?
I still got you, and I want to hear what you got for us.
Lunch break finally lined up.
Steven? We lose him again?
What did you just do?
I didn't do anything. I didn't touch it, I swear.
Google. It's Google Voice. We're having a serious problem with Google Voice right now.
What is Google Voice?
What we use to get these calls in?
Seriously? I thought we used call in studio.
Yeah, and then we run it through Google Voice.
Do we need to call a break and call your brother?
No, my brother does not know how to deal with Google Voice.
Marshall Burns says, morning, fellas. Good morning, Armstrong, 11 a.m. on Wednesday. Scotty B, the Baylor King on the Impact or the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line says, Baylor men's tennis only dropped to number 3 after their loss to Texas A&M. That was a tight loss, 4-3 against number 12 A&M in College Station. Their next opponent is number 15 Arizona, so a chance to move up possibly for Baylor. They play Arizona tonight at 6 p.m. Free shirts will be given out. Thank you, Scotty B. And then Baylor women's tennis moved up to number 11 in the country. Coach Joey Scrivano and company. Their opponents for Baylor women's tennis this weekend are Oklahoma, who is 32nd in the country, and Oklahoma State, who is 31st. Stephen from Virginia says the stream is messed up on YouTube and the phone line. I know. I see it's going out all right on YouTube, but the phone line, we're still working through that. Stephen, when we get it back up, we will let you know. Bear Games question.
We're back up right now.
We're back up on
supposedly, but who knows?
On La Collins Studio?
Yeah, but who knows? Huh?
Try us one more time, Stephen from Virginia. We'll get you in here. But we got a lot of breakdowns still on the bracket. We got a couple Hartford analysts joining us today and joining us throughout the rest of this week to break down who the Hartford Hawks are, because who in the heck knows? Coach Gallagher was on the show, the afternoon show on Monday, and we're going to get a couple, their ESPN Plus color guy comes on later this week as well. I've been doing a little bit of study on this Hartford team, and there's not a lot out there on this one, but we'll still be doing bracket breakdown and giving bracket analysis throughout this week. Stephen from Virginia, we're going to try you one more time. Stephen! Stephen! Tell me we got you.
Time.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Thank goodness. First of all, I'm so glad my lunch break lined up today, because working and listening to the show is not as advantageous as having a Baylor take on your lunch break. But I did make the guys in my crew watch up-tempo on our lunch break yesterday. So I just want to say we're spreading the audience here. We're getting other people involved.
Are they all Baylor fans?
I wanted to call. They're not Baylor fans, but they did enjoy the show. I would say that they were pleasantly surprised, because I've been kind of trying to get people to watch it, and people have been blowing me off. So I think people were pleasantly surprised.
Good. I like pleasantly surprised. I'll accept that. No way. No way it happened again.
No.
Did it actually?
No, I think we're still.
Are y'all still with me?
Yeah, we still got you, Stephen.
Phew.
Okay, so while the phone line still got me, I want to give my 5 upsets for the bracket, and I want to give my final 4.
Okay, 5 upsets for the bracket, your top 5 upsets, and your final 4.
First, I love the Winthrop and North Texas upset call by you. I'm going to go with that, too. Second, I like VCU in the Sweet 16. Third,
VCU.
Everyone's picking the wrong 5-12 game. The wrong 5-12 game. Everyone's talking about Georgetown and Colorado when they should be talking about Oregon State and Tennessee. Tennessee played really poorly for the second half of the season, and Oregon State played really well in the Pac-12 tournament. And then also, I have, for the first 4 special, I have UCLA coming out of the UCLA-Michigan State game tonight and beating BYU.
Tomorrow night.
In the 6-11 game.
They pushed it back. It's tomorrow night now.
And then lastly...
Sorry, Stephen.
I have Oklahoma over Gonzaga.
Wow. That's your upset pick. Oklahoma. What if did we lose him again?
Yep, we're gone.
Oh my. Sneaky against Ohio State. The Loyola Chicago Georgia Tech. Don't be surprised if Georgia Tech goes out and ends up beating Loyola Chicago. Liberty Oklahoma State is going to be an interesting matchup. I'm still very interested in West Virginia and Morehead State as well. Rutgers and Clemson. I think Rutgers has a shot in that one. I love the UCSB pick over Creighton. I love the Ohio pick over Virginia. I think USC is a lock to beat either Wichita State or Drake. I think Eastern Washington is going to beat Kansas round one. I do think Grand Canyon gives Iowa a bit of a run for their money. I think LSU is safe against St. Bonaventure. Colorado is safe against Georgetown. Lock in UNC Greensboro on top of Florida State in round one. Lock in BYU to win in round one. Abilene Christian to give Texas a run for their money as well. But like I said, we'll get into more of those upset matchups that we like later on in the show and favorites that we like later on in the show. Jack Wheeler says, if every Big 12 school was a Pixar film, which one would they be? And why would Baylor be Soul? Armstrong, do you agree that Baylor would be Soul in the event that all Pixar? He's nodding his head yes. That Baylor is Soul if all Big 12 teams are Pixar movies. That's actually really good. That's actually a really good question. I may over the course of the next break, I may pick out which Big 12 team is which. What I would love to do, even... Is someone calling us?
Yeah, we're calling Steven.
Hello?
Is this Steven?
Steven from Virginia. You're on the Impact Health Labs caller line.
There was no beat, so I didn't know what to do. I'm sorry.
No, I'm calling you from my personal cell phone.
Oh, that's amazing. You probably shouldn't have done that. I know Drake doesn't answer my texts anymore, so I can only imagine.
I do too.
So anyway, I don't know how much of that y'all got. I do want to say I put Up Tempo on the work TV yesterday at the job, and that made pulling up these awful carpets about 10 times better. But I wanted to give y'all a few upset specials for the tournament and a Final Four. And I don't know how many of y'all got last time, so I'm going to run through them quick.
I think we got all of them.
We got up to Oklahoma over Gonzaga.
Okay. Did you get my point on Oklahoma and Gonzaga? That Gonzaga, I think people use the fact that they've beaten West Virginia and Iowa. They haven't had to play anybody like that twice. Baylor had to go to Lawrence. They had to go to Morgantown. They had to go to Austin. Yeah. They had to go to Lubbock. They had to play these teams twice. And, you can beat them one time on a neutral floor, but try it again. And that's kind of my point on Oklahoma and Gonzaga. And then I'm feeling real nervous about my Final Four, but right now I have Kansas, Michigan, Baylor, and Illinois.
Kansas.
I have this really feeling about Kansas that Bill Self is feeling like no pressure right now, because whatever pressure he thought that he was going to get fired, I have to be honest with you. If I'm anybody looking at that program, Bill Self's getting an extension, because, the whole athletic department is crumbling around them. They can't lose their Hall of Fame basketball coach too. So right now, I think he feels no pressure. I think if they can get through the first weekends of games without McCormick, that they have a real good shot if the bracket opens up and Gonzaga loses to take that spot. The Michigan pick, I'm probably not feeling too good about, but I wasn't going to pick Texas. I'm sorry.
True. I like that. Stephen from Virginia, a couple Bear Games questions today. Bear Games question number one. We got to get to Evan Miyakawa here real quick. If one Big 12 basketball coach could be your personal chef, who would it be?
Oh, I wish it could have been a football coach, and I would have said Coach Aranda, because I know Coach Aranda can cook. That's Bill Self probably pays some people under the table to make real expensive meals for him. So
Bill Self,
that's probably who I'm going with.
All right, Finding Nemo or Cars?
I wish you would have put Cars as a 6 seed ahead of Ratatouille and A Bug's Life. I'm really upset with that you made me choose between two of my all-time favorites in the first round.
Yeah.
But you have to go Finding Nemo here. Finding Nemo is an iconic movie. I know Cars is too, but Finding Nemo got, when the sequel for Finding Nemo came out, people are about 10 times more excited than any of the sequels for Cars.
This bracket. I didn't make the bracket.
But,
I hate it. And then Toy Story 3 or Brave?
Too easy. Toy Story 3 is way better than Toy Story 2, but not better than Toy Story 1, but it still makes it through the bracket right here, guys.
Nice. Thanks for your call, Steven.
Thanks for calling me, guys.
Hey, G-Dub, I see you right there. We got to get Evan Miyakawa on the line here real quick. G-Dub, give us a call back after this interview. When we come back, Evan Miyakawa joins the show, and hopefully after that, G-Dub will give us a call again. Evan Miyakawa after this on Uptempo.
Just one more sleep until March Madness. Happy March Madness Eve with NIT games to hold us all over. Starting there, 3-seed Toledo meets 2-seed Richmond as 3-point favorites, and Western Kentucky plays St. Mary's as 2-point underdogs. Both of those games take place in Frisco and start at 6 and 8 respectively. In coaching changes, Utah has fired Larry Krystoyak from the program after 5 straight seasons missing the NCAA tournament. He had served in the role since 2011. And reports have surfaced but have not been confirmed that Iowa State has honed in on UNLV's basketball coach TJ Otzelberger as its next head coach. Good enough. In awards, Baylor's 3-headed guard set was honored yesterday as Jared Butler, Davion Mitchell, and Maceo Teague have all been named AP All-Americans, with Jared Butler being named a first-team All-American. And for religious reasons, if BYU is to make the Sweet 16, it will not play on Sunday, March 28th, and its schedule will be altered to adhere to the program. On the women's side, Sherry Cole is out as Oklahoma's head coach, announcing her retirement today after 25 seasons and 3 Final Fours. She won 6 regular season titles in the Big 12 and was one of Kim Mulkey's earliest and fiercest competitors. She's only 56 years old. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Uptempo.
With your Ram truck from Allen Samuels, you may not have to plow through snow and mud or pull heavy loads, but you could. During the Big Finish year-end event, you get a Ram deal like no other. Employee pricing for all, 0% for 84, and no payments for 90 days. Ram 1500 Lone Star for Christmas. No other truck comes close. And ask about Big Finish pricing on Ram Heavy Duty and Ram ProMaster for your business. Happy holidays from Allen Samuels.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Waco Waco Custom Marketplace is your home for holiday favorites for parties and the time with family. Various specials available in-store and online. A variety of steak gift boxes with 4 ribeyes for $70, 4 bacon wrap fillets for $55, or 4 New York strips for $50, and all come with steak butter. Fall snack box for watching a game or wrapping presents or hosting people at your house, including summer sausage, split horn, and jalapeno cheese and salted crackers for only $35. 2 pieces of lobster tails with herb butter and 2 bacon wrap fillets for $60. Order online or call in advance to ensure availability, or drop by Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Air Drive. Waco Custom Marketplace has a full-service butcher shop for customized orders or cuts of your favorite steaks or beef tenderloin or specially ordered prime rib roast. Plus, what you want with pork, poultry, seafood, and more. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
I got breaking news here. We got Western Athletic Conference just announced they're adding several schools.
The WAC.
The WAC.
Okay. Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
I think Coach Gundy would be like my guy that I would just like just a hair. Yeah. I just want to be able to see it flow when I kind of slam his arm down.
Here's Drake Toll.
Welcome back to the Pickell and Low T Bears Den. I'm Drake Toll alongside Armstrong Sims today, talking all things college basketball. NIT kicks off tonight. Some riveting matchups in Frisco. But right now, helping us break down everything in the field of 68 and into the round of 64, Evan Miyakawa, evanmia.com, Evan Mia on Twitter, the analytics king. Thanks for coming on the show again today.
I'm so excited to be here. We've got a bracket for the first time in 2 years. This is going to be awesome.
That's what I was telling Armstrong. You know, like I'm holding this right here. I'm holding a physical copy of an NCAA March Madness bracket for the first time in over 600 days. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is. And I think regardless of anyone's view of the bracket, how it turned out, whether they like it or not, it's just a privilege to have it. We've got the tournament starting with playing games tomorrow, full swing on Friday, so I can't wait for it.
Evan, let's start with your immediate reaction to the bracket. You know, when I first saw Baylor, North Carolina, and then started to see the way that Arkansas and Purdue, Ohio State, the way things stacked up for Baylor, I thought this is doomsday. This is terrible. Why does the committee hate Baylor? But then looking at the rest of the bracket, that's just how this is. There are just good teams across the board. Do you feel like Baylor may have gotten slighted, or is the field just that good?
Every region is difficult, and I think it's a temptation to say that, oh man, this region's particularly hard, but I think that's the case for everyone. My initial reaction for Baylor was actually the opposite. I think that that second round game against either Wisconsin or North Carolina is definitely really tough, but in terms of other teams in this region, I just don't see a lot of teams that could keep up with Baylor when Baylor is playing, firing on all cylinders like they were, especially a little bit earlier in the year. There's a lot of really solid teams in that South region, but in terms of ceiling for a lot of those contenders, I just don't see it being at Baylor's level. So if Baylor is able to play closer to where they were early in the season before the COVID pause, I feel pretty good about their chances.
And Evan, now just breaking news from NCAA March Madness, Naismith Coach of the Year finalists. They've narrowed it to 4. Scott Drew, Mark Few, Juwan Howard, and Nate Oates. So Scott Drew is on the list. But back to the bracket, one of the things that we've talked about on the show is at first glance, I thought, okay, North Carolina, Wisconsin. Those are 2 teams that have competed in a national championship game recently. You know, they're programs that have guys, coaches that know what it's like to compete on a Final Four scale. But then looking at Oklahoma, Missouri, who Gonzaga will be matched up with one of those 2 teams, or LSU St. Bonaventure, Loyola Chicago, Georgia Tech, it almost feels like Baylor didn't get the toughest 8-9 matchup to deal with.
Yeah, I think the one talking point is, North Carolina has big men. They have like 18 of them that are all really good. And so I think when you look at Baylor's weaknesses, it is dealing with, large, interiors where they don't have a guy like Freddie Gillespie like they had last year. But to me, I'm not really particularly scared by that, just given North Carolina's youth and the fact that I think if you take the name off their team, or Wisconsin for that matter, they just don't look quite as terrifying. To me, I actually think Wisconsin will win that first game. But you're right. All of those 8-9 matchups, I see Loyola versus Georgia Tech. Those are 2 conference tournament champions in both those teams. So I think there's tough draws around the bracket here for all of those 1 seeds versus whoever they're going to play in that 8-9 matchup.
I want to know, one of the things that has been talked about with this bracket, too, is Oklahoma State being slighted maybe as a 4 seed and then getting Liberty in round 1. Liberty this season with just an unbelievable campaign, 23-5. Do you feel like Oklahoma State should have been seeded higher and maybe that Liberty's a tough matchup for them to deal with?
I absolutely do. I think they probably should have their position switched with West Virginia. West Virginia on the 3 line. A lot of people who dig into those resumes a lot just see it being flipped. Oklahoma State, I think, has more quad 1 wins than anyone in the country, if I'm correct there. And Liberty is a tough. They have the recipe for a giant killer. They play really slow, really tough defense, and they shoot threes at a high rate, and they make a lot of them. So they have the recipe to beat any team that they would play. And Oklahoma State, with their youth and experience, obviously, Cade Cunningham's a fantastic player. But if you're looking for a team that might be under pressure there, Liberty has been in this spot before and has won as a double-seeded team before. So I think that's a scary matchup for Oklahoma State in their spot there. So, yeah, certainly I think they got a little slighted in that regard.
Looking at other Big 12 teams, the West Virginia side of things, I mean, they could end up meeting an Oklahoma State team in the Elite Eight, but they're going to have to deal with Houston. When it comes to analytics, and you look at that part of the bracket where you have West Virginia, Houston, and even a Morehead State team that I've been pretty high on, a Syracuse team that I like in an upset round 1. What do you make of West Virginia being where they are? Do they have any chance to meet up with Houston and maybe beat them?
So a lot of people have talked about the bottom of the Midwest being one of the weakest areas. I disagree. I think both Houston and San Diego State are undervalued. And I think it's hard to say that a 2 seed is undervalued in Houston, but they are a top 4 team, in my opinion, in the analytics. They just haven't gotten as much national exposure because of the conference that they play in, but they have looked solid all season. I think people have paid less attention to them since the storyline was early on how good they were. But so I think Houston, to me, is a Final Four sleeper. And it sounds weird to say that about a 2 seed, but I think they are. And I also think San Diego State is also underrated coming out of the Mountain West. So I think West Virginia has 2 tough games there potentially on their road to an Elite Eight matchup with an Illinois or an Oklahoma State. So that's a tough road for them as well.
How about going back to the South? That part of the South, we have Baylor, Hartford, North Carolina, Wisconsin, Villanova, and the like. Really, the South as a whole is their name brand teams. That's what Jay Billis called it, the name brand section of the bracket. When you look at those squads and what the analytics show this year, who are some of the favorites to make a splash in the South bracket?
Well, certainly you can't look past Ohio State. They've been really solid all year, coaching-wise. Chris Holtmann is doing an incredible job there. They've played arguably above their talent level all season. And so for that reason, I think that they're not very likely to be upset in a game. With that being said, though, I also think they have a definite ceiling there. So that's, certainly we're thinking about as Baylor might match up with them. But you look at the rest of that region, obviously, the 2 teams that stick out to me besides North Carolina and Wisconsin, as we've talked about already, are Villanova and Purdue, both extremely well coached. Now, Villanova has lost Colin Gillespie, their point guard, and they haven't looked the same since. But I can't ever, count out a Jay Wright team. He knows how to coach. He's got a week to prepare. And Purdue with Matt Painter, same thing. They're extremely well coached. They almost got to a Final Four 2 years ago. So, yeah, there's a lot of really, really good teams. Obviously, Chris Beard with Texas Tech. So, yeah, in terms of coaching acumen, it's definitely there in this region.
When you look at the West, Gonzaga with a matchup, one of the things that sticks out to me, the possibility of meeting a Big 12 team in Oklahoma round 2, a senior-laden Oklahoma team too. Do you see Gonzaga maybe tripping up early on, or does their stretch to the Final Four, maybe even the Elite Eight, look pretty easy from an analytics standpoint?
They certainly were handed an easy region, and I think the fact that they could play potentially Virginia and then one of either Kansas or Iowa. They've beaten all of those teams already this season. I think that certainly makes it seem like they have a relatively easy path. But if you're talking about an 8-9 team in this bracket who could cause them problems, Oklahoma is one for me because I think at one point in the season, I mean, a month ago, they were on the 3 seed line. So at a certain point in this season, they were playing like a top 10 team. They were as hot as any team in the country. So if you're talking about a team that has a high ceiling that could compete with Gonzaga from the 8-9 line, I certainly think they're probably the most likely team. Again, Gonzaga is extremely good, but that's an intriguing matchup to me.
One of the highlights that I see in the East, and they're paired right there on top of each other, Colorado and Georgetown, Florida State and UNC Greensboro. See, I love Colorado to beat Georgetown. I also love UNC Greensboro in an upset. Are there any analytics to back that up? What do you see out of that part of the East?
I absolutely agree with you on Colorado. I think they are arguably the most underrated team in this bracket in terms of people picking them to go to the Sweet 16 because of Georgetown. It's Georgetown. What a run from Patrick Ewing and those players getting back to the tournament. But Colorado, to me, is just better. And I think the analytics like them more than most people have, partly because they play in the Pac-12, so many games that people can't watch. But they've also blown a lot of late game leads where they've been up by a lot and the scores come back down. And so when you look at their final scores, they aren't as impressive as they've actually played. To me, I have Colorado as a Sweet 16 team, potentially an Elite 8 team, because I think Michigan is shaky with Isaiah Livers' injury. I think it's even possible that they might not even make it to the Sweet 16. So Colorado, to me, is a sneaky team to make a Sweet 16 or Elite 8 run.
So with the bracket as a whole, round of 64, who do you like as the Cinderella teams that are going to make a run in March or that could make a run based on their numbers?
If you're talking Cinderellas who are a double-digit seed, there's 2 that come to mind. The first is Ohio playing Virginia, and Virginia will have had a week off with no practice because of their quarantine and COVID issues, and that's certainly a significant factor. Teams in their first 2 games back from a COVID pause have always struggled, and Ohio will probably have the best player on the court in Jason Preston, their point guard, in that matchup. So to me, I like Ohio, and then they could beat either Creighton or Santa Barbara in that second game. Another team as well is Utah State from the South. I really, really like their team. Nemish Kita is an incredible defender. His presence at the rim and offensively as well is really good. If they beat Texas Tech in that first game, I think they could get ahead of steam, make a Sweet 16 run, an Elite 8 run. That's kind of where I have them penciled in myself. So they're another team to watch in that regard.
One of the matchups that's really intriguing to me, and I'm an Arkansas native, so that's part of it, but I'm hearing a lot of people that love Colgate and think that Colgate-Arkansas matchup could end up being a game that puts up 180 points combined. What do you see in that one? Is that another upset you're possibly circling?
In terms of high scoring, I definitely think that's going to be the case. Both these teams play extremely fast. They shoot a lot of threes. They just play very similar styles. So, yeah, this could be a barn burner, no question. The problem with the upset pick there is, number one, Colgate has only played 7 or 8 teams all season because they've stayed in conference the whole time. So they haven't played any good competition. So we don't really know how good they are against better competition. And Arkansas is just kind of a big boy version of Colgate. They play a very similar style. They're not going to be taken aback by the way that Colgate plays. So I just don't see this matchup-wise working out quite for Colgate compared to some of the other 3 seeds. So it certainly will be a fun game to watch, but I don't really see Colgate having a chance of beating Arkansas in that matchup.
Talking about your analytics and some of the bracket simulations maybe that you've made so far, who is, I don't want to say a lock. Obviously, lock is a loaded word when it comes to March Madness, but who are your favorites, maybe 3 or 4 teams to make the Elite 8?
It's a good question. I mean, I've done a lot of these bracket simulations. You can find them at my website. I always like to put all of my leftover bracket slots filled up with simulated brackets just because it's fun, and there will always be some that do really well. Gonzaga always turns out really well. I think they're making the Final Four. A majority of the time, they're the most obvious national champion in that regard. Another team I touched on already is Houston. I think Houston, numbers-wise, just looks better than people realize, and so they are getting a lot of Final Four, certainly Elite 8 appearances. I think the big talking point for me is that the whole East region is kind of up for grabs. Michigan certainly could do it, and if they round into form, especially with even with Isaiah Livers out, they are certainly the favorite in that regard. But you've got Alabama, Texas, one of Colorado or Florida State, with, like we talked about. You've also got Connecticut. They make the Final Four, Elite Eight in a lot of my simulations. And then you could potentially have a team like Michigan State, if they win their first game tomorrow, beating BYU. So I've seen the most variance in who's made the Elite Eight and Final Four in that region. To me, it's a real toss-up. There's also not a lot of teams here who were ranked really high in the preseason, which to me is a big sign of teams rounding back into preseason form once you hit tournament time. Bama is not that case. Michigan wasn't a top 10 team in the preseason. I don't even think Texas was. Certainly there was a lot of hype surrounding their program there. So it's really kind of a toss-up to me.
Would you say, so you kind of mentioned that preseason form. Walk me through that a little bit more. How much confidence do you have in these teams that may have not been very highly touted coming into the year?
Certainly a team that wasn't a top 10, top 25 team in the preseason can make a Final Four run, no question. But I've identified a trend, and I think others have as well, that a lot of teams start to show what people thought they might be early in the season if they have disappeared. A classic example of that is when Kentucky made the Final Four several years ago as an 8 seed. They'd had a disappointing year, but they were a top 5 team in the preseason. And a lot of times these teams that just have better talent often start to show out again, even if they've had a disappointing season. So to me, that's kind of a difference maker when I'm, trying to decide who's going to make a Final Four run. If I'm struggling between several teams, thinking about who was actually touted highly in the preseason. So to me, that's an interesting factor there. And certainly Gonzaga and Baylor favors them very well. Illinois, similarly to them as well. Another team like Iowa also, if they were to get past Gonzaga potentially. But that East region just doesn't have a lot of teams that meet that bill. So it's a little bit of a challenging endeavor to pick teams there.
So I know you said the West is probably going to be one that's more cut and dry, with Gonzaga making it to the Final Four. A lot of parity in the East. When you look at the South and the Midwest, that entire side of the bracket, and you think about teams that you really, really like, you mentioned Houston, obviously Baylor. One of the teams that we haven't talked much about, Illinois. Where does Illinois fall in this mix?
I mean, I think a lot can be said about Illinois. Certainly, they have arguably the most clutch player at the end of a game in Ayo Dosunmu. Kofi Cockburn is a program changer, the way that he has dominated inside. He is actually, I just ran this today, according to my ratings, Kofi Cockburn is the most indispensable player to his team in the entire tournament. So in other words, the drop-off in quality if Illinois were to lose Cockburn is more than for any other team in this tournament. So Illinois, obviously very capable of a Final Four run, even a national championship. They're that good. Sometimes it's best left unsaid because they're definitely a favorite. With that being said, they have an extremely tough region, a potential matchup versus arguably a top 10 team in Loyola Chicago. Throw Oklahoma State in the mix, and then you've got a Houston potentially or a West Virginia. So it's a challenging region for them.
When you look at your analytics that you run and just assess this Loyola Chicago team, obviously there's a lot of hype coming in with them this tournament season, as there has been since that Final Four run they made a few years back. Is this team being overhyped, or does Loyola Chicago have a chance to do it again?
I certainly think it's possible they're overhyped just given the storyline there. And, analytically, they are definitely there's no question they're a better team than that Final Four team when they made the Final Four and as an 11 seed. But with that being said, it's still not a likely outcome that they make the Final Four. They have an extremely tough path to get there. But I certainly love that matchup against Illinois. I think that would be extremely interesting. Loyola is one of the best, if not the best, defensive team in the country. That's not a fluke. So seeing them play against Ayo Dosunmu, that will be extremely interesting matchup there. And then if they move on, they might have a chance to slow down an Oklahoma State team who also plays a very fun style of basketball. So I like Loyola Chicago a lot. I don't necessarily know if I would pick them over Illinois in that potential second round matchup. And it's no guarantee they even make that game because they're playing a very tough team in Georgia Tech who won the ACC tournament championship.
Before we get into your Final Four and who you really like to make it to the national semifinal, there always seems to be that one random 6 or 7 seed, like a name brand to a Power 5 school, a Rutgers or a Maryland style, where you're like, what are these guys still doing hanging around in the tournament in the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight, you know? Is there a single school that you see in that maybe 5 to 8 range that you say, all right, folks aren't maybe talking about them a lot, but I see them as a team that makes that deep run?
To me, that team is the USC Trojans. I think a lot of people count them out, particularly because they might play, Drake or Wichita State in that first game, and then going against Kansas is no easy task. But to me, I'm really interested in that USC-Kansas potential game. And the reason being is if Kansas is without David McCormack due to COVID issues, or even if he's back, but his rusty, USC has arguably one of the best big men in the country and a lottery pick in Evan Mobley on their team. And they've got another guy in Taj Edey who can shoot the lights out when they're on. So I really like USC in that matchup against Kansas, particularly with Kansas's COVID issues. So to me, I like USC to make the Sweet 16 in that region.
And then, Evan, last question here for you. Before we get to our Bear games, your Final Four, when you look from a numbers standpoint, which 4 teams stand out the most?
I think the 2 locks for me are Gonzaga and Baylor. And I think that has just been the storyline all season. Gonzaga is in a tier of their own. Baylor is right underneath them in their own tier. And then there's a drop off to the rest. Certainly it's possible that they would not make the Final Four. But to me, I penciled them in right away. I'm not straying away from that. Illinois also is a favorite to make it. For me, I have Houston and then Alabama as my other 2 Final Four teams. I usually like to pick teams that are, more upset-minded, and I would love to have a 3 seed or a 4 seed in that Final Four. But I just can't look past Alabama or Houston as one of those 2 teams. And certainly you could throw Illinois in the mix there as well. So those are my Final Four picks.
All right, Evan Mia, Bear Games questions of the day today. Question number 1. If one Big 12 basketball coach could be your personal chef, who's it going to be?
I'd pick Shaka Smart. What he has done with his hair could translate to some interesting dishes. He has shown the variety across the board. So to me, I pick Shaka Smart.
He's a man of flavor. Many flavors. Man of many flavors. And your other 2 Bear Games questions of the day. Disney movie madness kicks off today with Toy Story 3 or Brave?
Toy Story 3. Yeah. That's definitely a good one.
Yeah. Why you grimaced? Brave does not deserve the grimace, Evan Miyakawa. This is the easiest one of the whole tournament. And now this does deserve the grimace. Finding Nemo or Cars?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's tough.
It's not fun.
I'm going to go with Cars.
Yeah, I like the Cars pick.
I like it.
All right.
They're both so good, though.
They are. I hate that that's a first-round matchup. We got to fix this bracket. Evan Miyakawa, thanks so much for joining the show today. EvanMia.com, Evan Mia on Twitter, breaking all things down across college basketball and its analytics. Can't wait to hear from you, hopefully again next week.
Sounds good.
Let's do it. Again, that was Evan Miyakawa on Up-Tempo today, talking all things college basketball. Has Baylor and Gonzaga going all the way to the Final Four, as most people do, and maybe, just maybe, it'll pan out. I'm Drake Toll. That's Armstrong Sims. When we come back, we hear from Scott Drew, who held a press conference yesterday talking about the matchup with Hartford. And then after Scott Drew, we got old Casey Lightfoot, NCAA pole vault champion. This is Up-Tempo.
Just one more sleep until March Madness. Happy March Madness Eve with NIT games to hold us all over. Starting there, 3-seed Toledo meets 2-seed Richmond as 3-point favorites, and Western Kentucky plays St. Mary's as 2-point underdogs. Both of those games take place in Frisco and start at 6 and 8 respectively. In coaching changes, Utah has fired Larry Krystoyak from the program after 5 straight seasons missing the NCAA tournament. He had served in the role since 2011. And reports have surfaced but have not been confirmed that Iowa State has honed in on UNLV's basketball coach, TJ Otzelberger, as its next head coach. Good enough. In awards, Baylor's 3-headed guard set was honored yesterday as Jared Butler, Davion Mitchell, and Maceo Teague have all been named AP All-Americans, with Jared Butler being named a first-team All-American. And for religious reasons, if BYU is to make the Sweet 16, it will not play on Sunday, March 28th, and its schedule will be altered to adhere to the program. On the women's side, Sherry Cole is out as Oklahoma's head coach, announcing her retirement today after 25 seasons and 3 Final Fours. She won 6 regular season titles in the Big 12 and was one of Kim Mulkey's earliest and fiercest competitors. She's only 56 years old. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to SicEm365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Well, let's be nice. Let's be nice. We don't have to go there. I mean, you're not wrong, but you didn't have to say it.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll for a Baylor take on your lunch break.
Welcome back into the Pickell and Low T Bears Den. We've got Scott Drew from his his pregame press conference for Hartford and Baylor. 10 minutes of the best clips from yesterday's pregame media with Scott Drew talking all things Hartford Hawks and the Baylor Bears trip to Indianapolis. This from Scott Drew.
Can you hear me now? I can hear you. Okay. All right. Zoom in quarantine. Fire, John.
All right, Scott. I guess you've had a chance to scout Hartford a little now. What do you see from them?
Well, first of all, anyone that's playing in March, very well coached team, and usually you have very good guard play, and they have two really good guards that do a great job on the offense and defensive end, and they've really been on a roll, really shooting the ball well, and that league's had a lot of success in recent history. So when it comes to the NCAA tournament, everybody's good, everybody's talented, but usually the teams that make it to March have great guard play, and they do.
I also wanted to ask you a little bit about the South region. A lot of teams with really impressive histories. Can you just talk a little bit about that?
Well, I think that's one thing about the NCAA tournament. No matter what region you're ever in, there's going to be a lot of good and talented and teams with a lot of history, tradition. So it's one of those things in March. Everyone loves it because it's a 40-minute game. Anybody can win in that 40 minutes. It's not a best of 7. So you better bring it. And with us, we're blessed because we were able to get a couple good days of practice. Was much needed. We had to do that, and now we'll get a couple more days, so we will be hungry and ready to go.
Okay, thank you, Scott. You're breaking up a little there toward the end.
Well, just fill in the good story.
Okay.
Hang on one second, guys. I'm going to try to fix that computer real quick.
Scott, you mentioned the practice time. How valuable has that been, considering, I guess, this might be really the first time since you come back that you've had this much practice time?
And one thing one of our coaches put together was in our 14 days back, we played 6 games, 4 of them on the road, 2 of them at home, traveled about 3,500 miles, 9 of 14 days on the road. So when you're just prepping, you really don't get a chance to practice anything. And I know defensively, our defense since the pause hadn't been what we'd want it to be. And that's to no one's blame. We just haven't had a chance to practice. Very similar to if you only shoot one day in 3 weeks, your shooting's probably not going to be on. So it was great to be able to get after it, get better. And we have such a mature group. When you show them things on film, they want to learn, they want to get better, but there's no substitute for actually being on the court and practicing and repping stuff. So hopefully our rotations will be a lot tighter. Our defense will be a lot more in sync like it was prior to the pause when we were really flying around and doing a great job.
And Scott, you've got a guy in Mark Vital that has a lot of tournament experience. How much does that help? I know you've got other guys, but Mark's been through it. How much does that help having him?
Well, any tournament experience definitely helps. One thing with no one being in the tournament last year, I think you're going to have a lot of nerves, a lot of excitement because a lot of people were probably looking forward to it last year and then not having that opportunity. So I know there's going to, and especially after being here and being in quarantine, you're going to have a lot of excited people to play.
Scott, like you said just a minute ago, obviously any team that makes it to March has great guard play. That's something you do have. And just talking about your starting trio, you know, those 3 guys, what's made that work so well? I mean, 3 guys that on any team could be standouts on their own on any other team. What's made that work so well?
Well, it really goes back to the character and makeup of each of them individually because they do care about the team. They care about winning. It's not about their stats, their accolades. And, I mean, you got guys that Maceo was used to playing the point guard coming in. Davion and Jared are used to playing point guard, and only one guy gets to bring the ball up. So they all do a great job sharing, rotating, making sure that everybody has a feel. And what I mean by that is, let's say Davion hadn't had many touches in the last minute or 2. Jared makes sure he's bringing it up and he's in the flow of things. And I think it's really just those 3 is concerned for each other and concerned for winning and knowing that we're a much better team when all 3 are clicking. But definitely it's their character putting the other person first has made this work.
How much are you looking forward to seeing them on this stage together? Obviously something we didn't get a chance to see last year.
Well, I know they're really excited. I mean, Maceo, he's never had an opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament. And Jared had one opportunity. Davion had one, but it was limited minutes. So, I mean, we really don't have, and that's why I'm sure a lot of the teams across the country with last year, no one going to the tournament, you're going to have a lot of nerves, a lot of excitement. And I heard Mark Vital talking to the younger guys. Man, that first year in the tournament, I was so nervous, and all them looking at him like, "You were nervous? Oh man, I'm gonna be in trouble." So I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of butterflies.
Yeah, Scott. You referenced on our last media availability getting back to where you were, and with a lot of teams, it's kind of like playing at a real high level is still aspirational this time of year. You guys were there for like 17 straight games. You know how good this team could be. What's the process of getting back there? And it is a little bit frustrating knowing that, you can see it on film just how good this team was.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the illustration that best fits probably is like someone that like Chuck. I mean, I know you probably bench press 300, maybe 325 before. Once you reach that plateau and then you take some time off, it's easier to get back to it than when you've never reached that. And so I think the good thing with our guys is, I mean, a couple of weeks ago before the pause, we were there, and now a couple of days of practice and refreshing their minds and bodies. Hopefully we can get back quicker. So that's one thing we used with the guys. And I think, again, having a mature group really helps with that. Sometimes a younger group, if you have a bunch of 17 and 18-year-olds, it's 2 weeks of practice. If you have a veteran group, maybe it's 2 days of practice. So, and again, this time of year, every day you're trying to still get better, because the teams that don't get better, they go home.
And just to double check a stat, I think the Big 12 even tossed this out. You may have used this. In addition to the 21-day layoff, you had the 18-day practice layoff, correct? Am I correct on that? And it's one thing not to play games, but just to be off the court that long. How difficult was that?
Well, and that's something where when you take that time off, you're getting worse. Everyone else is getting better. It's not like you're staying right where you were at and everyone's catching up. It's no, you're losing ground and they're gaining. So definitely, and a lot of people have had pauses and things they've had to work with and overcome. We're blessed to be here, and it is what it is. And hopefully, the one positive coming out of it is guys are a lot more excited, because when they spent 3 weeks watching everyone else play, it makes them more excited to be on the court and play. We don't have to worry about motivating them for practice or anything.
Hey, Scott, I got a wacky question for you. You were on that staff for the Valpo shot. You've been in kind of part of the One Shining Moment video. I'm sure a lot of your players have kind of imagined themselves in it. I'm just your thoughts on that song and kind of what it means to college basketball.
Well, I know coaches all use it for motivation and show their guys, and that's one of the things you grow up when you play college basketball. You want to be in that. You want to be in the song. You want to be in that Final Four and in that March Madness. And I tell you, the NCAA has really done a great job. When you arrive, you got here, and the gifts and just how they set up everything to make it such a great experience for student athletes. I mean, it's the pinnacle of college basketball, and something that they'll remember for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, Scott, taking on a team in Hartford, making their debut in the tournament. What do you remember about your first tournament game with Baylor?
So is that your question, or is that little man's question?
Yeah, first NCAA tournament. She's a little nervous.
Oh, she's there. I love it. As far as when I remember the first time we went to the tournament, it wasn't so good. We played at I think it was Tempe. We played Arizona, and by halftime that game was over. And unfortunately, they didn't have a lot of walk-ons, so the beatdown continued. But it was just a tremendous experience. And then from there, the team grew and finished with getting to the Sweet 16. So it was a great learning experience for that bunch. But if you've been in March Madness long enough, you're going to have some of the best memories, some of the toughest, they call them nightmares, memories. But it for the players, it's something that is such a goal and dream of theirs when they play college basketball, and to see them have a chance to be in that spotlight, have a chance to know they were a part of it. That as a coach, you love to see them that have worked so hard get that opportunity. And that's why, again, this year, after last year not having that opportunity, it's great seeing teams. And I know like Hartford was in their championship game and it got canceled. I mean, it's great seeing people have a chance to get rewarded.
That from Scott Drew in his press conference yesterday, previewing the Hartford matchup. When we come back from this break, Casey Lightfoot, the national champion, the best pole vaulter to ever do it in the NCAA, joins Up Tempo. I'm Drake Toll. That's Armstrong Sims. This right here is Up Tempo.
Just one more sleep until March Madness. Happy March Madness Eve with NIT games to hold us all over. Starting there, 3-seed Toledo meets 2-seed Richmond as 3-point favorites, and Western Kentucky plays St. Mary's as 2-point underdogs. Both of those games take place in Frisco and start at 6 and 8 respectively. In coaching changes, Utah has fired Larry Krystoyak from the program after 5 straight seasons missing the NCAA tournament. He had served in the role since 2011. And reports have surfaced but have not been confirmed that Iowa State has honed in on UNLV's basketball coach, TJ Otzelberger, as its next head coach. Good enough. In awards, Baylor's 3-headed guard set was honored yesterday as Jared Butler, Davion Mitchell, and Maceo Teague have all been named AP All-Americans, with Jared Butler being named a first-team All-American. And for religious reasons, if BYU is to make the Sweet 16, it will not play on Sunday, March 28th, and its schedule will be altered to adhere to the program. On the women's side, Sherry Cole is out as Oklahoma's head coach, announcing her retirement today after 25 seasons and 3 Final Fours. She won 6 regular season titles in the Big 12 and was one of Kim Mulkey's earliest and fiercest competitors. She's only 56 years old. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new pre-owned Bird Culchin Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership. Online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culchin Ford.
The holidays are here, and I have a simple question for you. Will you weigh as much more or less than you do right now when the holidays are over? Why not end the year in better shape than when you started and create momentum for 2021? Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has numerous options for stocking stuffer gifts with gift cards for gym or tennis membership, fitness merchandise, tanning, massage, tennis lessons, and personal training. Perhaps a gift for a client, a family member, or a friend. You just need to walk through the front door to change your life. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. Spacious, clean workout room, free weights, Cybex cardio equipment, and no intimidation. A tremendous camaraderie and family atmosphere. So get the best and healthiest Christmas gift you can for someone or yourself. It's time to react today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
No capes. Do you remember Thunderhead? Tall, storm powers. Nice man. Good with kids.
Listen. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Dyna guy, snag on takeoff. Splashdown, sucked into a vortex. No kicks.
Here's Drake Toll and Armstrong Sims.
Welcome back into the Fetty Clinic Low T Bears Den. It is Wednesday, folks. How about it? The eve of March Madness, coming off a big weekend in sports, and we are back at it today with Casey Lightfoot, the national champion. Can you believe it? He's the greatest to ever do it in the sport. When they say the word GOAT, they mean it. They say that about everybody, but this is like real. This is true. And now he's got a national championship trophy to back it up. Casey, thanks for coming on again today.
Hey, thank you for the invite again.
Absolutely. Casey, so walk me through it. As always, there you are. I mean, a pole in hand. You're ready to just take off and possibly win the national championship this past weekend, and it all worked out as it should have. Just take me through your headspace in that moment.
I mean, it wasn't too much different than all the other ones, really, but it was a big deal for sure. They put a little scare out there for everyone on my at 580 bar because it was an interesting little situation, but that's all right. Yeah, I mean, we got it done. We got the job done. We went and did what we were supposed to. So, yeah, now I have the trophy finally. I can finally say that I am a national champion, so that's cool. But it wasn't anything too much different than like a Big 12, other than it's just a little. I mean, I don't know. I guess the title is a little bit more of a big deal.
Casey, I got a little bit ahead of myself too. I mean, we haven't had you on the show since you won Big 12 Men's Performer of the Year in track and field. I mean, it doesn't matter what event. You were the number 1 track athlete in the Big 12 on the men's side. What did that award mean to you?
Yeah, that one was cool. I kind of forgot about that one, but because I won Big 12 freshman of the year whenever I was a couple years ago, but yeah, I didn't quite remember that one, but then I got a message that was like, "Hey, you won this award," and I was like, "Oh yeah, that was a cool one for sure." Because I mean, Big 12 is great conference, so there's a lot of good athletes, but to get that award was pretty special.
Not only that, but the USTFCCA alphabet soup Regional Field Athlete of the Year. That coming for you, another one of those just highly touted awards to add to your trophy case. That in itself, kind of the same deal. You get the text message and you're like, oh, hey, well, here this is.
Yeah, that one was that. Yeah, I got that one last year. That one's pretty cool too, but usually that one's actually presented at NCAA indoors, like during a big banquet. So unfortunately, I didn't get to do that last year or this year, but no, that one's still super cool. Another one of those kind of things. It was like, I mean, it was a pretty nice surprise to see on my phone text message to get a quote for it.
So, Casey, you've now had a 6-meter jump this season, which has never been done in the collegiate pole vault game. And so going into the NCAA Indoor Championship meet and every meet moving forward, is it your goal now, no matter what, to jump that 6-meter mark? I mean, what is your new goal that you've set for yourself?
So, yeah, I did jump the 6-meter bar. I just wanted to get that one out of the way because that was the biggest one. But now, like for the rest of indoor, just like at NCAA, my goal was 6:02 because the American record indoors was 6:01. So I just passed 6 meters and went to 602, but I never got that one. So I guess the goal now for outdoors is to jump 601 because the collegiate record outdoors is 6 meters. So I'd like to get that one under my name too. But that's pretty much the goal now, is just kind of 601.
With the, I gotta know, you're competing in the national championship this past weekend in Fayetteville, one of the best track facilities in the country. All the greatest athletes in the nation in track and field are all there for the indoor. But you have such a calm and level-headed demeanor about you. Was there ever a point where you were nervous, or were you just doing what you do?
For the most part, I was just doing what I do, but I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a little bit of nerves kind of coming out at the 580 bar, because it wasn't an ideal situation, but we pulled it out. So there was, I guess, the normal amount of nerves, but I guess there was just a little extra at 19 foot.
So I was following the Baylor track Twitter and really the meet overall through Twitter, and that 580 bar. Walk me through what happened there and what made that, I guess, a little bit hairier of a situation than you're used to.
Yeah, it did for sure. So I usually am jumping on my biggest 5'10" pole. It's just 16.9 pole. And it usually works up until 85, 90. I mean, after that I'll switch. But no, at 580 I blew through. Didn't work. It was way too soft. And then I had to go up to a pole on my second attempt that I'm not the most comfortable on. It's the pole I jumped 6 meters on, but it's a tough one to roll over and to get to work. So I had to go to that one on my second attempt, which is fine. That's a normal situation. But I was thinking, if anything, I'm probably going to come up short or something. But no, then I blew through that one. And then just as a pole vaulter, that's a tough situation, because if something really does not go anywhere near what you were thinking, I mean, you got to make some changes. But then what made it even worse is my buddy Zach, he made 580 on the second attempt because he went after me. So that put him in the lead. So I had one more jump. And if I didn't make it, I got second. But if I made it, I knew if I made 580, I knew I was going to make the next bar at least one more. But yeah, I had to do some desperate changes and some desperate times, but it got the job done. And then after that, I was feeling pretty good.
When you cleared that mark at 580 on the third jump, is that moment for you the excitement? Walk me through that. I mean, oddly enough, it's one of those, you've done that plenty of times, but to do it in that moment, was it just like, freaking sweet?
Yeah, for sure. Third attempt bars in that kind of situation, they're tough, man. They're really tough, and not everybody can do it. I think I have a lot more experience kind of doing that. So in that position, I was still pretty calm and pretty confident that I could do it. But a lot of people probably couldn't have done that, to be honest, because it's a lot going on and a lot is riding on one attempt. So you can get some nerves at the back of the runway.
How about not only the national championship, the final jump that scored you the win at 593, but also being an All-American? I mean, the accolades left and right at this point that you're racking up. What does it mean then to be an All-American?
I mean, I think I've been an All-American, I think this is my fourth time.
Yeah.
The All-American kind of thing wasn't as big of a deal as the national champion, of course, because I've already been an All-American a few times, but I really wanted that national champion title.
One of the things that I saw on Twitter, Baylor Track and Field posted it. It says, the greatest indoor collegiate pole vaulter of all time. And that is undisputed. That's objective. I mean, you are. Look at the numbers. Nobody can argue that. When you hear that, what goes through your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know times, but it's not, I don't know yet. I'm not sure. I guess maybe because indoors just finished and I haven't wrapped my head around it. But yeah, I mean, I did put up the greatest season anybody's ever had indoors, because I did the math the other day. I added all my meets, like the heights up together, and then did the division to figure out what my average was. And my average of the 6 meets was 593.7, I think it was, which actually that averaged higher than the collegiate record was before the season started.
Wow. That's stupid. That's not even real. Casey, I gotta know your demeanor, your calm demeanor, so nonchalant. I mean, it almost seems like these goals that you're working your way through, that there is a bigger goal at the end of that. That it's like, okay, I've notched this thing off of my list. There's more to be done. Is that how you feel right now?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can never be satisfied with what you're trying to do, because I mean, if you are, then what's your next thing? Like if you're satisfied, what are you going to work for? So you kind of just have to keep them going up. I mean, if it's bars or meets or titles or whatever, you knock one thing off the list, you can celebrate it for a couple days, but I mean, you got to move on to the next thing.
Tell me, do you celebrate these at this point? Are you working your goals for your future goals to the point where you win something and you think, all right, I'm going to sleep this one off and go get the next? Or do you celebrate for a while?
It doesn't last as long as you might think. I mean, it lasts the night of and then maybe the morning of, depending on what it is. Like the national title one was a big deal. So, I mean, we celebrated that one. We still kind of are, but I mean, it was time to get back to work on Monday. So, I mean, I did a little shakeout and went to weights and started my week. But some of them, yeah, I mean, a lot of, like, some people might be like, oh man, that's a really, really big deal. And it's like, yeah, it is, but I got to get something else done in a couple weeks. Like after Big 12s, that was kind of one of those things. It was like, yeah, that was my fourth title. And that was a big deal. That was super cool. But I mean, I had NCAAs in a couple weeks. So it's like, I couldn't sit on that one for too long, because I had bigger and better things to try to move on to. But that's kind of just how it works. I mean, I celebrate them for sure. It just, some of them aren't for too long.
You talked about sitting on them for a little bit, celebrating for a little bit, and what goes into that. I mean, the folks at home, none of us have ever experienced winning a national championship. None of us experienced being the greatest athlete to ever do it in a certain category somewhere. Is that emotional from time to time for you when you really think about the magnitude of being the greatest to ever do it in that sport at the collegiate level?
In a way, kind of, because like whenever you think about it, it's like if I thought back a couple of years ago, I mean, that's whenever I was thinking about what I wanted to do, that's like where I'm at. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like 2 years ago, I was thinking, man, I want to win a national title, or 3 years ago, I want to win a national title. But then whenever you think about it, like if you're like, man, 2 years ago, I was really thinking about trying to do what I just did. Yeah. And then you kind of start thinking, you're like, man, I've come a long way. So I guess you can get a little emotional there.
How about going into the outdoor season? I want to know, and you may not want to give away too many tricks of your trade, but right now on outdoor jumps, how are you doing? What is your goal, I should say, for the outdoor year?
My goal for the outdoor year is just to take the outdoor collegiate record down. Is pretty much the big one. I actually don't have the Baylor outdoor record, so I'd like to have that one under my name too.
Wow. And what is, from a height standpoint, where does that record sit? What are you chasing?
I'm chasing 6 meters is what it is. So it's 19.8 and a quarter. So I need 601, which is like 19.8 and 3/4.
When you weigh out the difference in jumping indoor, vaulting indoor compared to vaulting outdoor, what is the main difference between the two? Do you feel like you vault better outdoors?
So I mean, it's a give or take. I like jumping outdoors just because I like to be outside. But the good thing about indoors is everything's constant. Like you don't have to worry about any kind of bad weather or wind. But wind is one of the biggest factors for us, because whenever you think about it, we're basically just carrying a sail. And you got it. I mean, if you get anything wrong, I mean, chance of injury goes really high. So outdoors is tricky for sure because of wind. But if you get the right kind of wind, like if you get the wind at your back and it just helps you run faster, I mean, then you can get some really high bars. So I like both of them for sure, but I like outdoors just because you can be outside.
So how about at the end of the year? I mean, this track team and everything you guys have done this season, Coach Harbor, one of the best to ever do it. Number 18, the final national ranking that came out in the indoor track and field, indoor track and field rankings. What is the outlook from a team standpoint going into the outdoors to help improve on that?
You know, one of the big things I think is kind of the outlook going into outdoors. We would love to get more people that qualify for NCAAs. You know what I mean? Because what you just said, we finished 18th at NCAAs for guys. Well, I was the only guy that competed.
Yeah.
So our 18th place came from 10 points in pole vault. So the girls did great. I mean, I think they got 9th, but they sent a lot more than what we had. So I think one of the big things for the entire team is to get everybody motivated and try to work to even qualify for NCAAs because, like I said, I was on my own.
How about with all this stuff put together, All-American, national champion, and the like, the collegiate record, I just want to go back to what does all of it combined mean to you as an athlete?
I mean, it's one of those things that all just kind of means like if you work hard, you can accomplish what you want to do. Because I mean, whenever it comes down to it, you get what you put in. So it's like if you want to spend those extra long hours at nighttime on your own or a workout on your own, and whenever nobody else is doing anything, I mean, it'll pay off eventually. It's just kind of how it works. I mean, so that's kind of the big thing because I put a lot into it. I mean, I put some long summer hours, long workouts by myself, doing 2-a-days or 3-a-days even. But so just to be able to see it pay off is kind of the successful part for me.
And then, Casey, before we get into our Bear games today, I got to know, when you think about the Olympics and where you need to jump to represent the United States at the Olympics, where are you right now in your vault, and where do you want to be going into Tokyo 2021?
My jump's really, I mean, it's really good right now. But there's a few things that need to change. But right now I'm ranked. I finished indoors 3rd in the world and 1st in the United States. So, I mean, it looks promising, of course, but it's one of those things that you got to go to the Olympic trials and place top 3 there. So anything can happen, really. But no, I mean, my jump's pretty good right now. There's not a whole lot wrong with it, but we're still going to do the fine changes.
I love it. Casey, Bear Games question of the day today. Here's what I want. If you could, here's what I'll do. One track coach or even anybody that's associated with track and field on the staff or around the staff. Kellen is on the list too. One that could be your personal chef. Who's it going to be?
Oh, man. I don't know. I feel like I feel like Evan could cook. I feel like Evan's a good cook.
Lock it in. And then our other Bear Games questions of the day today. We got our movie madness, Disney movie madness. With March Madness going on, we're doing a little bracket. And today's matchup, the first one is Cars 3 or Brave. And this is so easy. Please don't get it wrong.
Cars 3.
That was too easy. Wait, no, it's Toy Story 3. It's Toy Story 3 or Brave. Please don't change your answer.
I still wouldn't change my answer.
Yeah, it's still Toy Story 3. And then this one, though, this one's tough. Cars or Nemo? Yeah.
Oof. I personally find the first Cars, I think, more enjoyable. I do like Nemo, but I do like the first Cars.
First Cars is immaculate. Casey Lightfoot, congratulations on winning the national championship, the best pole vaulter to ever do it in the collegiate indoor game. It is always awesome to have you on.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Let's do it again in a couple of weeks. That was Casey Lightfoot, Baylor track and field star, who won his first indoor national championship. He's the greatest to ever do it in the sport and will represent the United States at the Summer Olympics as the best pole vaulter in the country. I'm Drake Toll. That's Armstrong Sims. When we come back, we're going to hear from Coach Steve Rodriguez, see highlights of Baylor softball and Baylor baseball, and talk later on in the show. How about this, folks, to Paul Biancardi, who joins us to break down college basketball. This is Up Tempo.
Just one more sleep until March Madness. Happy March Madness Eve with NIT games to hold us all over. Starting there, 3-seed Toledo meets 2-seed Richmond as 3-point favorites, and Western Kentucky plays St. Mary's as 2-point underdogs. Both of those games take place in Frisco and start at 6 and 8 respectively. In coaching changes, Utah has fired Larry Krystoyak from the program after 5 straight seasons missing the NCAA tournament. He had served in the role since 2011. And reports have surfaced but have not been confirmed that Iowa State has honed in on UNLV's basketball coach, TJ Otzelberger, as its next head coach. Good enough. In awards, Baylor's 3-headed guard set was honored yesterday as Jared Butler, Davion Mitchell, and Maceo Teague have all been named AP All-Americans, with Jared Butler being named a first-team All-American. And for religious reasons, if BYU is to make the Sweet 16, it will not play on Sunday, March 28th, and its schedule will be altered to adhere to the program. On the women's side, Sherry Cole is out as Oklahoma's head coach, announcing her retirement today after 25 seasons and 3 Final Fours. She won 6 regular season titles in the Big 12 and was one of Kim Mulkey's earliest and fiercest competitors. She's only 56 years old. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Uptempo.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new, pre-owned Bird Culchin Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership. Online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culchin Ford.
The holidays are here, and I have a simple question for you. Will you weigh as much more or less than you do right now when the holidays are over? Why not end the year in better shape than when you started and create momentum for 2021? Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has numerous options for stocking stuffer gifts with gift cards for gym or tennis membership, fitness merchandise, tanning, massage, tennis lessons, and personal training. Perhaps a gift for a client, a family member, or a friend. You just need to walk through the front door to change your life. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. Spacious, clean workout room, free weights, Cybex cardio equipment, and no intimidation. A tremendous camaraderie and family atmosphere. So get the best and healthiest Christmas gift you can for someone or yourself. It's time to react today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll for a Baylor take on your lunch break.
Welcome back to the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. It is Wednesday today. Happy Wednesday, folks. Baylor football today. Football. It's a foreign word right now, but Baylor football posted a video today that I love. I love. It says, where were you at 6 a.m. today? We were competing. Take a look at this. Take a look at this.
We need fighters. We need people that don't quit. Go to war right here. Understand? The guy you're going against is a competitor. Hey, fight on 3, fight on me. 1, 2, 3, fight. Alert! Ready!
In case anyone's wondering, I am not Bun Common. I could not do that. I could not do that. Vic Valorius is in your face, just go! Nope. Done. I'm checking out. Thank you. Thank you for the stay. I'm gone. Last night, Baylor softball, 3-2 on top of Stephen F. Austin, a good Stephen F. Austin team that had won 9 straight games going into the ball game. Here are the highlights from Baylor softball, knocking off a pretty darn good little Stephen F. Austin team.
Tonight from Gatterman Stadium in Waco, Texas, it's the Baylor Lady Bears hosting the Lady Jacks of Stephen F. Austin. 1-1 pitch through the circle to second, touch the bag for 1, on to first, a double play. Abigail, the runner at third, here's the pitch. Off-speed pitch, strike 3. What a great pitch to get Govan looking for out number 2. Tied at 1 as SFA bats in the top of the third. That one is a called strike 3.
That's a back.
Wow.
Kansas City, Kansas?
No, actually Mo. Yep, Kansas City Mo. And there's one that gets past the catcher, Richards. Here's Dawson coming around to score. She didn't slow down around third base, and Dawson scores from second base on a wild pitch. Sydney Holman Manziel delivers, and a swinging strike 3. Here's a pitch. This is grounded glove by Hott. She'll come home, and that's an out on the force at home plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The pitch. It's grounded to third. Ellis will throw to first, and that's the inning. Pitch by Mock. This one's hit into the gap in left center field. Rounding second, headed for third is Aaliyah Benford. That's a double by Goose McGlon. Benford, the runner at third. McGlon, the runner at second. Into right field for the base hit. Benford will score. Here comes McGlon. She is out at the plate. Baylor gets a 3-2 win over Stephen F. Austin tonight here at Gatterman Stadium. Lady Bears have won 12 of their last 13. They are 16-4 on the season.
They're hot right now, folks. They are hot. Baylor softball with another win last night. They're looking really good right now after knocking off a top 10 team this past weekend. They got a doubleheader against Houston on Saturday and Sunday. I'll be there. It's at Gatterman Stadium. Now, baseball last night. Hairy, got a little hairy. Check this out from last night's win over UTSA 10-8. Watching Big 12 now on ESPN Plus. Back in Waco, Texas, where it has been home sweet home for the Baylor Bears. It's their 9th straight game at home, the first 8 contests here at Baylor Ballpark. This ball gets through, and the good times continue here in the first inning for Baylor. 2 more runs come home. Already had a chance to run the bases today. That ball's good. Currington, first pitch he sees out towards center and splash down into the Brazos. Baylor back on top. To go, former state champions in softball. Got him. Wow. Ashkenaz potentially 1 strike away from getting out of this inning with a 1-run lead still intact. Strikes out the sun. First pitch from Simon Miller to Thomas. Andy Thomas lets this one rip. A no-doubter. Fourth home run on the year for Thomas. If the tag wasn't. McKenzie, one pitch later, is going to do what Jared McKenzie has done throughout this season. Oh, man. 2 on, 2 out. Got him on the 2-2. Got him on the 2-2. Roadrunners down to 2 outs. 9 straight wins for Baylor. Roadrunners hang on for the 10-8 victory. All games airing on the ESPN Network, streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN. How about ya, Yank? 9 straight wins for Baylor baseball after knocking off UTSA. Pretty solid game. Baylor baseball starting to pick it back up. Competition's not great right now, but they're winning. That's building confidence headed into the Big 12 opener this weekend against UT in Waco. All right, here's what we got. We got a little bit of Steve Rodriguez action breaking things down after their 9th straight win. This, the top 3 minutes from last night's press conference with Coach Steve Rodriguez.
Hey, Curtis.
Coach, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, man?
I'm doing okay. Cannot complain. Congratulations on another win.
Oh, thank you. That was a grind, that's for sure.
I mean, you guys have been pretty hot the last several games, 9 wins in a row. I mean, does it make you feel a lot more comfortable given the fact that you guys open Big 12 play this weekend?
I don't know if I'm ever comfortable. I'm being honest with you. As a coach, you're constantly trying to make sure your players are doing what they're supposed to do. They're executing when they're supposed to execute, and so as great as tonight's win was, I thought we swung the bats really well and we did a really good job. There's still some things that we needed to work on. And, and I talked about that after the game today with those guys. But I do like how they compete. I do like how they get after it. It's really fun watching them kind of grind through at-bats and have some success and at the same time string a lot of hits together, which is really fun to watch.
What's clicked for you guys during this stretch? Because you guys have beaten a few really, really good teams in this 9-game win streak.
No, I'll tell you what, UTSA they're going to have a really good year. They're a grinding kind of team, and they just don't stop. So you have to make sure that you're on point pretty much throughout that whole time. As for clicking, I'm not really sure if anything has really clicked, but at the very beginning of our season, we rushed down to Edinburgh to play UT Rio Grande Valley, and we're playing 3 games in like 36 hours. And the big thing was we needed to play. And so we rushed down there, and we were trying to figure out who we were, and then we go straight from there to Round Rock, and we're playing against some really good programs, and still trying to figure out who we are. And then we were actually able to get home and kind of get settled a little bit, and it's really nice to be able to know what guys can do, the roles certain guys are taking, and at the same time the fight that these guys have in this baseball game.
I want to ask you to kind of give away your strategy going into the weekend, but what are some of the things that you are looking to work on tomorrow against Prairie View with your guys before Big 12 play does arrive on Saturday or Friday?
To be honest, there's no secrets. There's no like immediate strategy. The biggest thing is if we execute, and I tell this to people all the time, regardless of who is in that other dugout, if we execute and we pitch well, we have a chance to win. It's just a matter of execution. It's a matter of making sure that they earn every run they get and we don't give them free bases, making sure we play quality defense. If you do that against anybody, you got a chance to win. If you play poorly, you walk a bunch of guys, you hit a bunch of guys, you can't play defense, you can lose every single game of the year. And so that is, for me, is the biggest thing, making sure that we do the little things right, find a way to execute, because they're going to be 1-run games, and then once you get a guy on base, finding that 2-out hit is going to be huge.
All right, that was Steve Rodriguez after the win last night. When we come back from this break, Paul Biancardi, ESPN analyst, joins the show. He is ESPN's head basketball recruiting analyst at the Collegiate Game. Going to talk about Baylor's 3-headed monster of guards that are now all Americans, and where Baylor stacks up in the NCAA tournament that is set to kick off tomorrow. One more sleep until one shining moment. I'm Drake Toll. That's Armstrong Sounds. Paul Biancardi when we come back. This is Uptempo.
Just one more sleep until March Madness. Happy March Madness Eve with NIT games to hold us all over. Starting there, 3-seed Toledo meets 2-seed Richmond as 3-point favorites, and Western Kentucky plays St. Mary's as 2-point underdogs. Both of those games take place in Frisco and start at 6 and 8 respectively. In coaching changes, Utah has fired Larry Krystoyak from the program after 5 straight seasons missing the NCAA tournament. He had served in the role since 2011. And reports have surfaced but have not been confirmed that Iowa State has honed in on UNLV's basketball coach TJ Otzelberger as its next head coach. Good enough. In awards, Baylor's 3-headed guard set was honored yesterday as Jared Butler, Davion Mitchell, and Maceo Teague have all been named AP All-Americans, with Jared Butler being named a first-team All-American. And for religious reasons, if BYU is to make the Sweet 16, it will not play on Sunday, March 28th, and its schedule will be altered to adhere to the program. On the women's side, Sherry Cole is out as Oklahoma's head coach, announcing her retirement today after 25 seasons and 3 Final Fours. She won 6 regular season titles in the Big 12 and was one of Kim Mulkey's earliest and fiercest competitors. She's only 56 years old. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Uptempo.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountains?
Welcome back to Uptempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Paulie, give me some of your tots. No, go find your own. Come on, give me some of your tots. No, I'm freaking starved. I didn't get to eat anything today.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Brian, don't be jealous that I've been chatting online with Dave all day.
Your place for a Baylor take on your lunch break. Here's Drake Toll.
Just one more sleep until March Madness. Happy March Madness Eve with NIT games to hold us all over. Starting there, 3-seed Toledo meets 2-seed Richmond as 3-point favorites, and Western Kentucky plays St. Mary's as 2-point underdogs. Both of those games take place in Frisco and start at 6 and 8 respectively. In coaching changes, Utah has fired Larry Krystoyak from the program after 5 straight seasons missing the NCAA tournament. He had served in the role since 2011. And reports have surfaced but have not been confirmed that Iowa State has honed in on UNLV's basketball coach TJ Otzelberger as its next head coach. Good enough. In awards, Baylor's 3-headed guard set was honored yesterday as Jared Butler, Davion Mitchell, and Maceo Teague have all been named AP All-Americans, with Jared Butler being named a first-team All-American. And for religious reasons, if BYU is to make the Sweet 16, it will not play on Sunday, March 28th, and its schedule will be altered to adhere to the program. On the women's side, Sherry Cole is out as Oklahoma's head coach, announcing her retirement today after 25 seasons and 3 Final Fours. She won 6 regular season titles in the Big 12 and was one of Kim Mulkey's earliest and fiercest competitors. She's only 56 years old. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Uptempo.
And welcome back to the Pickell Low T Bears Den. Drake Toll alongside Armstrong Sims, joined momentarily by Paul Biancardi, talking all things college hoops, Baylor's 3-headed monster of Maceo Teague, Davion Mitchell, and obviously Jared Butler, who all 3 named All-American teams. That release put out yesterday. Jared Butler being a first-team All-American headed into the NCAA tournament. A little chip on their shoulder as those guys prepare to play Hartford on Friday. That is Jared Butler, AP All-American first team. He is the first honoree in program history to have that mark, while Davion Mitchell is recognized as AP All-American third team. Maceo Teague earned honorable mention. Butler leads the Big 12 in steals, 3-point percentage, 3-pointers made, ranked second in the conference in assists, third in scoring, fourth in field goal percentage, and ninth in assist-to-turnover ratio. He and Kate Cunningham both named the AP All-American first teams. The second team, we went over that yesterday. The second team drew Timmy Jalen Suggs, Evan Mobley from USC, Hunter Dickinson at Michigan, and Kofi Coburn from Illinois. So Illinois has a couple of guys at the top of the list. Baylor, Gonzaga, Illinois dominated these lists. Davion Mitchell, third team, with Quentin Grimes, Herb Jones, Cameron Krutwig, and Chris Duarte. Cameron Krutwig he got third team All-American. Wow, that's wild. And then, yes, Maceo Teague, All-American honorable mention. The last time Baylor had an All-American was last season. It was Jared Butler. Jonathan Motley in 2017 won it. Rico Gathers in 2015. Perry Jones III, Pierre Jackson, Lace Darius Dunn, Tweety Carter, Ekpe Udo, Curtis Gerald. So Scott Drew's no stranger to basketball All-Americans, and one of those, Davion Mitchell, Naismith Defensive Player of the Year, semifinalist, 1 of 10. All-American third team in the AP and according to Sporting News. Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, all Big 12 first team, all Big 12 second team. That was first team for the coaches, second team AP. Big 12 all defensive team, unanimous NABC District 8 first team, District 7 all district, Naismith Trophy midseason team. All the accolades for Davion Mitchell. And this video was posted yesterday showing off-night Davion Mitchell doing what he does best, and some of the highlights of where he got his start over in Georgia.
Here we are.
Hey, Paul.
Just one more sleep until March Madness. Happy March Madness Eve with NIT games to hold us all over. Starting there, 3-seed Toledo meets 2-seed Richmond as 3-point favorites, and Western Kentucky plays St. Mary's as 2-point underdogs. Both of those games take place in Frisco and start at 6 and 8 respectively. In coaching changes, Utah has fired Larry Krystoyak from the program after 5 straight seasons missing the NCAA tournament. He had served in the role since 2011. And reports have surfaced but have not been confirmed that Iowa State has honed in on UNLV's basketball coach TJ Otzelberger as its next head coach. Good enough. In awards, Baylor's 3-headed guard set was honored yesterday as Jared Butler, Davion Mitchell, and MaCio Teague have all been named AP All-Americans, with Jared Butler being named a first-team All-American. And for religious reasons, if BYU is to make the Sweet 16, it will not play on Sunday, March 28th, and its schedule will be altered to adhere to the program. On the women's side, Sherry Cole is out as Oklahoma's head coach, announcing her retirement today after 25 seasons and 3 Final Fours. She won 6 regular season titles in the Big 12 and was one of Kim Mulkey's earliest and fiercest competitors. She's only 56 years old. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Uptempo.
All right, welcome back to the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. It is Wednesday, folks. It's a big Wednesday, too, as we're breaking things down across college basketball. The NIT starting tonight, and then the NCAA tournament kicking off with the preliminary games tomorrow. Baylor playing at 2:30 on Friday against the Hartford Hawks. And to help us break it all down, Paul Biancardi from ESPN joining the show today. Paul, thanks so much for coming on Up Tempo.
All right, man, let's get up tempo. Let's play.
Let's get it. Let's do it. Hey, fast-paced. And speaking of fast-paced, I tell you what, these guards for Baylor can score so well, and one of the best attributes to their offense is their defense. Paul, let's start right there with those guys on this Baylor team that you're assessing, whether it be Davion Mitchell, Jared Butler, MaCio Teague, from a guard standpoint, that have NBA-level talent.
Yeah, let's start with Davion Mitchell, former ESPN top 100 prospect coming out of high school from the state of Georgia. Always had quick hands, quick feet, great assist maker. Right now at Baylor, we know he's 5.5 assists per game, about 2.5 turnovers per game. But he's shooting it at 46%. That's attractive to the NBA. His quickness is attractive. His defensive ability on the ball, extremely attractive. Tell you what he does a great job of. Getting over ball screens. NBA scouts are looking for guys that are going to be able to play ball screen defense, not just ball screen offense. Mitchell, obviously, in my mind, and the scouts that I speak with, a late first-round pick. Jared Butler, another former ESPN top 100 prospect. Always loved this guy. I loved his strength, his shooting ability, and his ability to play defense. Another two-way player for Scott Drew. What I really like about Butler, when you look at his stats at Baylor, look at his field goal percentage, look at his scoring points per game, they've increased over the course of time. And that's a sign of a player that the NBA loves, guys that are going to improve as time goes on. Great three-point shooter and a guy who can really defend because of the strong body. I really like him. And MaCio Teague has a shot in this draft. I think Butler's going to be a late first, maybe more towards this early second round. That would be a steal, as people like to say. MaCio Teague, the transfer out of the Big South at Asheville, shooting it at 40%, got great size. I love that Scott Drew plays a 3-guard offense. When I was at Boston College, we had a 3-guard offense. It took us to the Elite Eight.
How about it? Coach Biancardi, I got to know, one of the questions that folks ask all the time with players, not just guards, but big men. Look at Luka Garza. When you've got a guy that stays in college for 3-4 years, how does that impact their draft stock, whether it be positively or negatively?
Yeah, I think the narrative right now is positive. Maybe years ago, it was the longer you stayed in college, the less upside you had, or maybe you didn't have you weren't good enough because you didn't come out early enough. That narrative has changed in many ways. The NBA is looking for guys that are older, more mature, guys that have experience under their belt, guys that have winning under their belt. If you think about this, after the lottery, guys are looking for, of course, they're always looking for talent and upside, but they need guys who can fit into their franchise and help their franchise win games. And as you get later into the first round and certainly into the second round, maturity, experience, being older in the locker room, being older with the ability to handle the NBA lifestyle is becoming more and more important to NBA GMs, assistant GMs. So I think age is a good thing right now.
Once again, Coach Paul Biancardi joining the show right now on Uptempo, ESPN analyst. Coach, I want to know, when these teams sit down face-to-face with a player, whether it be a guy like Davion Mitchell or Jared Butler, who are both very sharp, very bright, they carry themselves well, they have the intangibles are there. What does that do to a player's draft stock?
It elevates it. You knocked it out of the park on that one. The NBA knows your talent. They've studied your talent. They've made zillions of phone calls about your talent. Once that gets established, the investigation, we'll say, is all about your character traits. And that's where they take a deep, deep dive into every player. They're investing millions of dollars. They're going to put you on a team in a locker room, and they have to travel with you. You represent the franchise. You represent them in the community. Your character doesn't have to be perfect, but it certainly has to be of high value. And when you can sell your character, it enhances your talent profile.
Coach Biancardi, one of the questions, we've had analysts on before and asked this, and some people, they frankly hate it, but I got to ask it because I got to know. Jared Butler, Davion Mitchell, those two specifically, who do you look at, whether it be current or past NBA players, that you say, all right, these guys stack up pretty well with so-and-so that had a successful career in the league?
Well, that's a tough question to answer right out of the bat. But when I look at, Davion Mitchell, Jared Butler, it's funny because I thought about that today. I thought about Dame Lillard and CJ McCollum, like just that tandem of guys that play off each other so well. They both can play with the ball and they both can play without the ball. CJ McCollum went to Lehigh. He wasn't even in, the ESPN 100. Very good player out of high school, but not nationally ranked. Same thing with Dame Lillard, not nationally ranked because Dame got better as time went on at Weber State. But look at the way those two guys play together and play off of each other. Mitchell and Butler do the same.
Coach, when it comes to this team as a whole, this Baylor squad, there's one name that folks have kind of thrown around there a little bit. I've heard Jay Billis say it and a couple of the other analysts that they'll mention Matthew Meyer. Fran Fraschilla loves Matthew Meyer. Is that a name that you've heard yet?
You talking about for the NBA draft?
Right.
No, it's not a name that jumps out at you right now for the NBA draft. I think Butler and Davion Mitchell are the guys that the NBA is looking at. But I'll tell you this, the NCAA tournament, it can enhance your profile. You talked about the traits on an interview. That stuff is really important. And the last thing about the traits I want to mention is when the NBA asks you a question about your background or about your character, they already know the answer. They just want to see if you're telling the truth. And that's really important to the NBA, is the honesty and the integrity. But with the NCAA tournament and your talent profile, if you could show that you could be part of winning when your team makes a deep run, it enhances everyone's profile.
Now, Coach, when it comes to the NCAA tournament, what you have experience with, plenty of experience with, one of the things that we've heard mentioned this week, too, as we get closer and closer tipping this thing off, is that typically the teams that you're going to see make a run are the teams with NBA talent in the starting lineup, at least one guy, one superstar that can carry a squad. Do you see it, the NCAA tournament, as a field that favors the teams with that NBA caliber one or two players, or maybe a team with a starting five who aren't NBA caliber, but they're all really good?
Yeah, I put that out on Twitter the other day. Just my experience being in the NCAA tournament, being to a Final Four, being to an Elite Eight. You need superior talent to get there. You need NBA talent if you're going to win it all, or certainly to get to a Final Four, I believe. Not always the case, but in most cases, that's the number one criteria to get there. Second, in my opinion, is being older, being experienced, and being a mature team. I think those things are really, really important. And then obviously your team chemistry is probably third on that list. How much does this team get along both on the court and off the court? The off-court chemistry will show during games. To me, those things are some of the biggest games within the game for a team to advance during this time. You look at Loyola of Chicago, for example, a couple of years ago, no NBA talent on their roster, but extremely old, extremely together, great team chemistry. Porter Moser and I worked together for the late, great Rick Majerus, so I knew the makeup of his team. That's what you call Cinderella.
How about Porter Moser, University of Arkansas Little Rock guy? I had some experience with him over with the Trojans, and one of the best coaches out there who's really built something at Loyola Chicago. And talking about coaches, apart from NBA talent and great talent, obviously it takes great coaches to carry a team in the NCAA tournament. Scott Drew, is he one of those?
Oh, no doubt about it. Look, when Scott took this job over, and I believe it was 2002, 2003, nobody wanted the Baylor job. Nobody. And the people that wanted it probably couldn't do the job that he has done. They should have a parade for him down at Waco. And I say that seriously. He took a program that not only was down from a basketball standpoint, but from a culture and character standpoint. We know the issues that went on at the time. He not only built them into a competitive program, but into a winning program and then a championship program. And the roster that he has this year, being a number 1 seed, certainly can make it to a Final Four. Look, this year, it seems like we're going to have a coach who's never won a national championship to win one, and that may be a school who's never won a national championship as well, because the Blue Bloods are not in it this year. The Kentuckys, the Dukes, Kansas is not the same. Arizona's not in. UCLA is just starting over with Mick Cronin. So North Carolina has a great front court, maybe the best front court in the NCAA tournament, but their backcourt is so young and so inconsistent. I don't know if they can make a run. In fact, I don't know if they can get past Wisconsin. But to answer your question about Scott Drew, just an absolutely phenomenal job over the course of time. He has created excellence, and he's maintained excellence at Baylor.
If you're just joining us, Coach Paul Biancardi from ESPN now joining us on the show talking Baylor's guard set of NBA talent and the NCAA tournament. Speaking of tournament, Coach, when you look at the field of 64 right now, who are the teams that you really like as you build your bracket?
Well, obviously I like some of the 1 seeds. I like Gonzaga, I like Baylor. I pick Illinois to win it all, with Alabama to be my Final Four. That's my Final Four. The Zags, Alabama, Baylor, and Illinois. I kind of went shocked, but I had 3 1 seeds and a 2 seed. But it's hard to find another team in my mind to win it all. Some teams that are not 1 and 2 seeds that I really like. Texas, in my mind, is one of the most talented teams in the NCAA roster. When you look at their roster, and you go back to their history coming out of high school, Texas has 10 ESPN top 100 players. So they are well stacked with talent, and they're a little bit older. Obviously, Matt Coleman, a senior, Courtney Ramey, an experienced guard, Jericho Sims playing at a high level. But there's a wave of talent in that Texas program, and Shaka Smart has done a fabulous job putting it together. So I like Texas a lot. I think Georgia Tech. They're playing Loyola of Chicago. When I look at they are the oldest team experience-wise in the NCAA tournament. They won the ACC this year. Obviously, the ACC was not what it normally is, but it was still a Power 5 strong conference. Don't be surprised if you see Georgia Tech in the Final Four.
Coach Biancardi, last question here for you. When it comes to these Baylor Bears, Scott Drew and his squad, a team that has never made the Final Four in the modern era, what makes them so good? What is going to give this team an edge in the NCAA tournament?
Well, besides being really well coached, and people throw that phrase around, Scott Drew has a great pulse of his team. It was evident when they were on pause. They came back against Iowa State, almost lost, but pulled it out. That's a sign of a coach who is very connected to his team. And after that pause, I found that to be very intriguing how they turned it on at the last few minutes and won. So having a coach who knows his team so well is going to be important. They're really tough on both sides of the ball. Look at all the metrics. They're in top category in efficiency on offense, certainly defense. 3-point shooting, they're number 1. in the NCAA tournament. Now, you're not going to shoot the ball well every night, but they certainly play tremendous defense, especially out on the ball. They don't have the shot blocker that they've had in the past, but they play a tremendous team defense where they're really looking to help each other. And position-wise, they're in the right spot at the right time. Offensively, they have 3 to 4 guys that can, score at a moment's notice. Vital has been vital, if you will, on the glass, defensive presence, and an energy giver. So they have a lot of parts. They're a two-way team. They have an experienced coach, and they have a number 1 seed, which is usually supposedly one of the easier paths to get there.
How about it? I tell you what, with that this Baylor team is one FK Udo away from being the greatest team of all time, if you ask me. But Coach Paul Biancardi, thanks so much for coming on the show today, talking Baylor basketball from a guard standpoint and going into the NCAA tournament. Absolute pleasure to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Let's say we do it again here in a couple weeks when Baylor's in the Final Four, all right?
I'll be ready.
I love it. Again, that was Coach Paul Biancardi from ESPN joining us, talking all things college basketball, NBA standpoint for the Baylor guards, and Baylor's shot in the NCAA tournament. I'm Drake Toll, Armstrong Sims. J.D. Pickell joins us in 1 second for the Blonde Boys Power Hour, and we'll be joined by Adam Singer coming out of this break to talk Hartford men's basketball. This is Uptempo.
Just one more sleep until March Madness. Happy March Madness Eve with NIT games to hold us all over. Starting there, 3-seed Toledo meets 2-seed Richmond as 3-point favorites, and Western Kentucky plays St. Mary's as 2-point underdogs. Both of those games take place in Frisco and start at 6 and 8 respectively. In coaching changes, Utah has fired Larry Krystoyak from the program after 5 straight seasons missing the NCAA tournament. He had served in the role since 2011. And reports have surfaced but have not been confirmed that Iowa State has honed in on UNLV's basketball coach TJ Otzelberger as its next head coach. Good enough. In awards, Baylor's 3-headed guard set was honored yesterday as Jared Butler, Davion Mitchell, and Maceo Teague have all been named AP All-Americans, with Jared Butler being named a first-team All-American. And for religious reasons, if BYU is to make the Sweet 16, it will not play on Sunday, March 28th, and its schedule will be altered to adhere to the program. On the women's side, Sherry Cole is out as Oklahoma's head coach, announcing her retirement today after 25 seasons and 3 Final Fours. She won 6 regular season titles in the Big 12 and was one of Kim Mulkey's earliest and fiercest competitors. She's only 56 years old. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Uptempo.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping. With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to SicEm365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be a home run. And so that'll make it a 4-0 ball game.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll for a Baylor take on your lunch break.
Welcome back into the Petty. What are we going with the little sunglasses action?
There's a little Randy Moss draft.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. You didn't tell me you were going to do that. Drake Toll alongside J.D. Pickell today on Up Tempo. Starting up the 1 o'clock hour, just had Paul Biancardi on. Big show today. Casey Lightfoot joined earlier. It was awesome. And now joining us, former Hartford assistant basketball coach Adam Singer is on the show to break down all things Hawks. Adam, thanks for coming on the show with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me. Much appreciated.
Absolutely. Well, tell us, Adam, there are not a ton of Hartford experts that exist in the world still to this day. They're a very unique species. But you exist as one. If there's anybody that knows anything about Hartford basketball, it's yourself. So tell us, preliminary, what is this Hartford team all about?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah, there's not many of us Hartford Hawks fans out there. I actually had experience working for Coach Gallagher, so I kind of have a unique perspective. But, Hartford's, coming into the tournament, first time making it in a 37-year Division I history. Coach Gallagher obviously has been at the helm for 11 years. 15-8 season, 14-1 actually, or 10-1 at home, 14-6 against Division I like opponents. Obviously, they opened up against UConn, lost to them by 12, played Villanova about 2 days later, lost in the 30 range. Yeah. But no cupcakes on the non-conference schedule, really. Played a bunch of good teams, and obviously won the conference tournament over UMass Lowell this past Saturday.
Well, Adam, I'm joined here by my co-host J.D. Pickell, and he's got we want to know all about this Hartford team and program. J.D.,
I'm made of questions. I could talk to you for hours, Adam. But the first thing I want to know is, what does this Hartford team do well? Because I think I speak for the majority of Baylor basketball fans. This will be the first time for us seeing this Hartford program.
Of course, yeah. So in terms of their roster, they mostly go about 6 or 7 deep. Really versatile offense. Coach Gallagher in the beginning of his career actually was more of a 3-point shooting team, but I think as he's recruited guys that are more versatile, they like to get to the rim, mid-range game, versatility. And then defensively, they're actually one of the best teams in their conference defensively, as well as guarding the 3, which I know Baylor is number 1 in the country at about 42%. So, it's kind of a mix of styles, but that's, styles make fights, as they say.
Wow. How about Austin Williams, one of the star guards for this team, obviously is the name to look at, a name to look at for Hartford. What are a couple of the other guys, his supporting cast, that are going to be forces to reckon with for Baylor?
Of course. So I don't know how much, your fans or your listeners know about this, but Hartford actually lost their leading scorer the second conference series of the season against Moses Flowers was his name. He was a returning sophomore. He was a really good scorer, could create shots. But Austin Williams really has taken the lead, as the season has progressed, averaging, finished the season at about 14-6-3, really good conference tournament. And then obviously the clog that stirs their drink is Tracy Carter. He's their point guard. He's been at 5 different schools, averages 2.6 steals a game, really, really good from mid-range. And he's a really good leader. Now, Coach Gallagher in his career has recruited a lot of really good guards. Started off with Andres Torres when he first came in, went to J.R. Lynch, who was there actually when I was there. And then they transitioned over to Tracy Carter for the last 2 years. And, Tracy's a guy that has a lot of experience defensively. He's elite. Gino Ford, actually, the coach of Stony Brook, was on, I think, with Andy Katz a few days ago and said, Tracy Carter is the best defensive point guard he has coached against. And I agree. Coach Gallagher would agree with me. And I agree. The guy's got great hands, great anticipation. He's a veteran out there, so he kind of knows what he's doing. And then Hartford's got a bunch of different pieces. They got Hunter Marks, who's their starting 4. He's from Phillips Island, Australia. Really good shooter, plays good in big games. He's got 2 big men that they kind of rotate in. Miroslav Stoffel, big man, came over from, I believe, Serbia. And then they got Thomas Webley, a freshman from New Zealand. Both big bodies, get on the glass. And then in their backcourt, they got PJ Henry, probably going to be the quickest guy on the court when they play on Friday. Small guard from Shadow Creek, Texas, I believe, sophomore. And then DJ Mitchell, actually, who stepped in for Moses Flowers, terrific shooter, actually started as a walk-on, got a scholarship, just a do-everything guy, real good energy, and kind of has fit the mold really well in replacing Moses Flowers. So the team's versatile. They're known for their defense. And Coach Gallagher, as I'm sure you've read a lot about, really good energy, passionate, all about mindset. So that's kind of the Hartford, outline.
Wow.
Adam, I don't think Drake could have gotten a better source on Hartford basketball if we had tried. So your name is probably going to be on a lot of short lists for interviews by ESPN if Hartford can win this next game. Now, on that topic, ask Virginia. It's not impossible for a 16 to beat a 1. What does Hartford need to do? In what scenario does Hartford beat Baylor in this first round?
Yeah, so I think the 2 strategies, I think defensively, it's obviously not allowing Baylor to get a lot of threes. Not as much attempts, but makes. Obviously, you kind of want to run them off the line. They're 41.8% on the year, number 1 in the country. Obviously, a great backcourt with Teague and Mitchell and Jared Butler, who I honestly thought was the best guy in the Big 12, but that's not either near or there. You could have 2 good players in a conference, of course. But I think it's keeping them off the three-point line, really rebounding. I know Baylor doesn't have the size, but they have the athleticism. Obviously, going back to the comment that Taurean Prince made when they lost to Yale, you got to rebound the ball. You got to get to the glass. You got to use 2 hands. And then on the offensive end, I think for Hartford, it's going to be slowing the pace, making sure you get really good ball reversals, forcing, that Power 5 team to really guard for the whole shot clock. And Coach Gallagher, as I said to Drake before we came on, the air, Hartford's played some really good teams over the last 5-6 years. They played Northwestern, beat them. They played Boston College, beat them twice. They played Villanova, lost to them, but it was a good game. They played UConn to open the season, lost by 12. Obviously UConn was, now they're one of the best teams in the country, arguably top 20. So Hartford's played some big teams before. They're not going to be afraid of Baylor. I can tell you that. But Baylor's going to have the talent advantage. And then obviously Coach Drew, over the last 2 years has won, 48 games. He's been to 9 tournaments in 14 seasons. So in his last 14 seasons. So, it's going to be a tough matchup, but, Hartford's going to come, with their A game, and they're going to have a good mindset, and they're excited, obviously, to be there for their first tournament appearance.
Adam, you mentioned that. This is the first time that Coach Gallagher and this team have made the NCAA tournament, first time in program history. And the road to get there, this team, again in early February, was 10-8, and everybody, I guess, really in the American East was counting them out. Nobody thought this team was going to represent the conference in the NCAA tournament. What did it take to get this team here?
Yeah, so going back, so Hartford actually went to Division I 37 years ago with head coach Jack Phelan, who actually passed away this year. So it's kind of, a weird kind of coincidence there, unfortunately. But Coach Gallagher came in. He obviously built a foundation of what the other coaches built to him. But yeah, I mean, if you look at the way the season turned out, obviously they were 10-8. They had you have back-to-backs now with the COVID. You have back-to-backs. So if you win the first game, you're going into the second game with confidence. You kind of know what you did right, what you got to improve on. But if you lost the first game, like they lost to UMass Lowell, their first game of the conference matchup at UMass Lowell. Bad performance. I forgot what the final score was, but from what I know, Coach Gallagher went in there, told the guys, listen, this is what we got to do better. We got to come in with a better mindset. We're able to beat this team, and we got to come out and, it's a rock fight. Whoever can throw the most rocks, take the most punches, is going to win the game. And they played the second game, won by 12. And then in the conference tournament, Hartford has always been the underdog, whether it's based on the conference or, never making the NCAA tournament or whatnot. But in that locker room, you don't ever feel like you're an underdog, whether it's you've prepared well, the scouting report is great from the assistant coaches. Coach Gallagher gets you, really revved up and passionate, and, he's got your back. That's one thing. The neighborhood is kind of the slogan for the program. Coach Gallagher uses that as, a really good, saying, because what he uses is when you have a problem and you're at a major conference, you might go Google, you might call someone down in another state, but in the neighborhood, you go to the guy next to you. You have a problem, you run out of, baking soda, you go to your neighbor. And the neighborhood is really this tight-knit group of, non-UConn Connecticut basketball fans. So, when you get into the tournament, Hartford went in the first game. They played against Binghamton, who was actually playing really well at the end of the season. Obviously Hartford was at home. They were the 4 seed. Didn't get to play that last weekend of the regular season due to the conference actually being pushed back. And they played well, won the game. Second game they went in, they played against Albany. Now the tricky thing was they were supposed to play Albany in the regular season at home. As I said before, they were 10-1 at home. That could have been 2, wins at home and could have put kind of people at ease. But you hadn't played Albany. Obviously, Will Brown had been there for 20 years. I think took them to 5 NCAA tournaments. So they had pedigree on their side. But Hartford had the home court. They had, confidence. And I believe that this was a team of destiny, as we found out. And then they went on the road to Vermont, who, Vermont was the 2 seed. But I truly believe that Hartford, now we kind of see it, and there's proof in the pudding, they were the best team in the conference. If you look at UMBC, we split against them, won the first game at UMBC. The second game, we shot, I think, about 32%, lost the second game. But if you shoot any better than 32%, you're probably going to win that game. So that could have been a sweep of UMBC, but they obviously deserved the 1 seed. Then you play Vermont, who's the 2 seed, and you play them in the Final Four. Vermont had never played us. We went into that game 9-point underdogs, but how is there proof that they're 9 points better than us when we hadn't played them, and we had been waiting for that game since last year when our game got canceled? So there was a little bit of motivation on the side, a little bit of an underdog mentality. Obviously we went into Vermont 9-point underdogs, won by 8. They're a great team. They're run really, really well by John Becker. Obviously they're the standard bearer of the conference. And then you play UMass Lowell at home, and UMass Lowell was a 6 seed. They came back from 2 16-point deficits. Had Obadiah Noel, who I believe was the best player in the conference. He actually sat out some games towards the end of the year, so that might have hurt his candidacy. But went into that game. You're the 4 seed. Easily could have been 1 or 2 at home. 40 minutes from an NCAA tournament berth. The first half was very ugly. I had people texting me saying, "You guys have no shot." And I'm like, I know these guys better than you know them. The shots are not falling, but, we're number 2 team in the conference in defense. Offensively, we're going to figure it out. And don't worry, if the game's close at halftime, Gallagher's going into the locker room and he's firing the troops up. We're coming out, we're kicking the doors down. Kind of that famous Jimmy Valvano speech, Green Bay Packers, my faith, and Rutgers basketball. Yeah. Something like that he did at the ESPY. So anyways, played UMBC, beat them. Obviously, everybody was real ecstatic getting to the tournament. And, we're not going to take the opportunity for granted. We're going to come ready to play. Obviously, Baylor, 22-2, 48 wins over the last 2 seasons. Scott Drew, 63% win percentage in his Baylor career. We know what they are capable of. But we know what we're good at. We're going to play to our strengths. And hopefully it's going to be, a competitive game that fans are going to want to watch.
Adam, you're making me want to root for Hartford. Hearing
Well,
your passion for this program, I'm fired up, man.
Fans in the Hartford, rooting fans, whether it's Friday or next year.
I'm fired up,
I was going to say the same thing. At this point, I just want Hartford to go to the Final Four so we can keep rooting for them and have an animal.
I'm ready.
Maybe we'll be like Loyola, Chicago. A little underdog story.
I'm ready, man. Now, you mentioned that spread of 9 points. This spread a little different. 26.5, 27, depending on who you ask. Do you see Hartford making it a game? Like, do you see it covering that 27 and going the distance, or how do you see this game playing out in that fashion?
Yeah, I don't know because, they played against Villanova, the second game of the year, lost by 34. Obviously, Villanova and Baylor are somewhat in the same class in terms of, can be a top 5 team on any given night, but, could struggle at times. I know Baylor, after the COVID break, had a little bit of struggles, but anytime you go to Kansas, it's never going to be an easy game. And every time you play against Cade Cunningham, who probably is going to be one of the top 2 picks in the draft, there's no assurances, so the 2 losses weren't really bad. But, I'd like to think, as a big Hartford fan, as someone that worked for Coach Gallagher, that 27.5 is just too much. But games can get out of hand. If Baylor comes ready to roll, Scott Drew gets the team fired up. As I said, they got 3 really good guards in Teague and Mitchell and Jared Butler. Jared Butler finished the season, I have it here, averaging 17, 3 and 5. Very well-rounded player. Got the size, got the athleticism. So I like to think Hartford's going to keep it close. I believe that they're going to have a really good offense. They're going to move the ball around. If they make shots, obviously we know playing in the Lucas Oil Stadium, it's a very different atmosphere. You got the weird trajectories. You got the court maybe elevated from, where the benches are. I don't really know how the setup is, but I like to think it's going to be closer than 26 just because of all the things I've said. Hartford's confident in what they can do. Defensively, that's kind of been their calling card. They played against, top 5 Power 5 conference teams before. So this is not going to be a shock to them. This is not, coming into a game and saying, wow, I cannot believe I'm playing against Jared Butler. It's not going to be like that. They're going to come ready to roll. Gallagher is, excited to be there. This is a record-breaking season, something that has never happened. But that doesn't mean we're not going to, let the opportunity slip away.
How about Coach Gallagher? We had the guy on our afternoon show earlier this week, and the passion of just for the sport of basketball for Hartford. He's spent now combined almost 13 years at Hartford in total between associate head coach and then head coach here at the program with the Hawks. And not all of those years have been easy for Coach Gallagher. What does this mean, though, for him, a coach like that, to finally break through and take this program to the NCAA tournament for the first time ever?
Absolutely. I think for Coach Gallagher, it just kind of cements his, his status as, in my opinion, the best coach that Hartford's ever had. Obviously, when you go and transition to Division I, like I said 37 years ago, it's always going to be an uphill battle. And a funny story, when I started working for Coach Gallagher in 2011, I had transferred actually from Indiana University Bloomington. They had Coach Green. I had not worked with the team, but I had transferred to go work for Coach Gallagher. We actually started 0-13 while Indiana started 15-1. Wow. Now, 10 years later, the tournament is being hosted at Indiana. They're not in and we're in. So it's a kind of little bit of like a coincidence, poetic justice kind of situation. But no, Coach Gallagher, 157 Division I wins at Hartford, most in school history in the Division I era, of course. 70 wins over the last 4 years, which, to some people that are listening, they're going to be like, well, Scott Drew's got 48 in the last 2. But at a conference like Hartford's in the America East, at a school like Hartford where there's been, changeover in the administration, and Coach Gallagher's really been the consistent, and he's had to turn over things. When he first got there, he recruited, a whole new freshman class. Those guys won, 34 games over 2 years. That was a school record. Then he recruited a whole new class that took us to a whole new level. Beat Boston College twice, very close to making the NCAA tournament a few times, being in the Final Four with guys like J.R. Lynch and John Carroll and Jason Dunn, George Blagojevich, who's playing in Australia now. He's had to recruit new guys every few years. But this new class, with the Austin Williams, who was a transfer from Marist, the Tracy Carter, who was a transfer from LaSalle, Malik Ellison, who was on the roster last year, his father obviously played at Louisville, won a national title, went to the NBA. This new class of guys, I think it's all a culmination of him just continuously growing the talent pool, but also just not wavering off of what he knows is going to work. So Coach Gallagher, in my opinion, I'm obviously still very close with him. For me, he's the best coach in the country because I have never worked for anybody else. And he's obviously won at a very high level within, the confines of winning in the conference and winning, in the state against the Fairfields and the Sacred Hearts and the Central Connecticut States. So for me, I think this kind of just moves Coach Gallagher even up another notch to potentially, who knows? You win against Baylor, things could happen, but no matter what happens on Friday, winning 157 games over your 11 seasons and getting to the NCAA tournament after all these different recruiting classes, 11 years on the job, almost losing your job at one point and just continuously building it. I think it's just a testament to his, never-ending passion and grit and hard work that he's put in to get to this position. And I think if you talk to a lot of different coaches in Division I, whether it's the Steve Donahues or the Mike Martins or the Porter Mosers or even the Mark Fuse at Gonzaga, he's very close with those guys. I think they would tell you that they feel as good that he's made it as if they were to make it because of the type of person and the humble attitude that he has.
Wow.
Now, Adam, we love March Madness because of the upsets, obviously, the madness. That's what it is. And a lot of times you see those lower seeds capitalize on a matchup or two they have against the big dog, quote unquote. What is that matchup for Hartford where you say, hey, this might really be a chink in the Baylor armor? Is there one of those that you could see, maybe even one or two?
Honestly, I haven't done too much individual research or, scouting on Baylor, of course, because I'm just a normal guy living in Chicago, but, a huge Hartford fan. Honestly, I kind of alluded to it before. If Baylor's not making their shots and Hartford's cleaning the glass real well and allowing, very, very minimal second chance opportunities, that's going to be the key. Because anytime you go up against, a Goliath, like a Baylor or a Gonzaga or a Villanova, you can't let them get second chance opportunities because those are backbreakers. You force a bad shot, they get the rebound, they kick it out for the easy three, they make it. Now that's technically a 5-point swing because you would have had the ball, but now they get a three. That's a 5-point swing in a game where the spread is 26 and you got to be almost perfect. Those 5-point swings change games. So, I don't know if there's necessarily one thing you can point out about Baylor, that's going to be an easy thing to exploit because when you're 22-2, not many teams have figured it out. Just like people were asking me, how do you stop, Gonzaga? Well, no one's beaten them. So no one's figured it out, and everybody scouted them in their conference for the last 5 years. So, I don't know if there's one specific thing. I think, as I alluded to, it's going to be, keeping them, from making a lot of threes, rebounding so you don't allow second chance opportunities. And on the offensive end, Coach Gallagher is a big proponent of ball movement. Move the defense, move the rim protectors, and attack closeouts. Find open looks, and then play call. Coach Gallagher's got a plethora of play calls, and we'll see what, he draws up. And whether they win or lose, I'm still going to be the number one Hartford fan there is in the country, not only because of my experience working with the team, but also just, I've been able to go back and watch games, not this year, of course, but been able to go back and watch games, built a relationship with some of the new people that have joined the staff, and they've done a good job of including me as someone that still has passion in, learning about new things and, introducing me to new concepts.
I love it. I mean, Adam, this is unbelievable. The analysis that you've been able to bring us about Hartford, and obviously you are as a former coach on the staff and now someone that follows them very closely. It's evident that you're passionate about Hartford. And I'll tell you what, when they said it's Baylor Hartford round one, we had no idea what to expect. But now I'm going Hartford plus the points. We're going Hartford plus 27 easy.
Where my money's going.
I got Hartford to the Final Four.
I've had people, in this day and age, I'm 29 years old. Everybody's talking about the betting and the lines and all, DraftKings and all that. And people were asking, Adam, what do you think? 27-point spread. I said, first off, I always think that Hartford's got a chance to win. Well, that's bias, whether that's, unabashed confidence, whatever it may be. 27, kind of seems like a big number. And then I also said, I'm going to be in Indy. I know I told that to you before we jumped on. I'm actually going to Indy tomorrow, going to be, staying over Thursday night and then going to the game on Friday. And I joke with people, listen, if I'm in the stands, the spread's got to be adjusted 2 or 3 points. People joke about it, but I've been to a lot of Hartford games at home and, you can sway the refs a little bit, obviously, professionally and supporting your team and not doing anything wrong. But, maybe the spread 24 if Adam Singer's in the building. I don't know.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. Adam, look, I'm so excited to have you on. Have a great time in Indianapolis, too. I envy you getting to go and watch the Hartford Hawks play basketball on Friday.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much. Obviously, I'm going to be, rooting for Baylor other than on Friday. I'm glad to have met you guys, and I'm obviously very appreciative of the opportunity to talk about Hartford and kind of, go through the matchup with you.
Well, I love it. I'm glad that we got to get the analysis. And I tell you what, if Hartford wins, I will not be very upset now. We'll have you on again.
Wins, you have to have me on, next year to preview the season.
Absolutely.
I'll be very upset.
Prior to the Final Four, we've got Adam coming on because the Hartford Hawks are taking on, Hartford and Gonzaga in the Natty.
Yeah,
Adam,
we'll see.
Thanks again, man, so much for doing this. It was great. Really great to have you.
Of course. Thank you so much.
All right. That was Adam Singer, former Hartford assistant basketball coach.
Wow.
Talking all things Hartford Hawks. Now I know everything about Hartford. Yeah. I know everything there is to know about Hartford.
I mean, he was an almanac. Like we give him a question, and he would roll with all, like sometimes you get people that will just talk to talk. He was just giving us content, names, names, numbers, Baylor, stats,
Hartford,
how long coach has been there, what the spread was, what he's doing.
Coaches.
Is he gonna flip some calls on Friday? That kind of scared me. He's like, I'm gonna change some calls.
Yeah, my favorite quote maybe on this show ever is maybe it needs to go down to 24 points with Adam Singer's in the building.
Dude, can we get a shirt
I love
that says that?
My favorite quote was, "This is a team of destiny." When he said that, I just got chills.
Yeah. And he said, I'm a normal guy who's 29. I was like, dude, no other normal guy knows everything you know right now about Hartford.
That's spectacular.
There's zero chance.
He is spectacular. I want to play Hartford every game now. That was unbelievable.
And because they probably would favor Baylor if they played Hartford every game.
That was unbelievable.
I would love that.
Honestly, if Hartford wins, now I have a little bit of all right.
It's a silver lining.
It's a silver lining in the event.
And a guest built in.
And another guest built in. Can we just, how do we get Adam Singer to start loving Baylor like he loves Hartford?
We would never need to look anything up again. We would just be, Adam, what is it? Oh, it's that. Okay, great.
In the worst way possible, if Jerome Tang leaves to take the Iowa State job and Baylor hires Adam Singer in his place,
done deal.
Done deal.
Done deal.
I can't tell you if I wouldn't. I would hate losing Jerome Tang. I don't want to do that. But Adam Singer being on the Baylor staff,
whatever it takes to get Adam Singer.
Chef's kiss. That was spectacular. I'm Drake Toll, J.D. Pickell, Armstrong Sims. When we come back, breaking down a little bit more from this bracket and picking some of our favorite upsets. That was Adam Singer, former assistant basketball coach, I should say, at Hartford for the Hawks. This is Up Tempo.
Just one more sleep until March Madness. Happy March Madness Eve with NIT games to hold us all over. Starting there, 3-seed Toledo meets 2-seed Richmond as 3-point favorites, and Western Kentucky plays St. Mary's as 2-point underdogs. Both of those games take place in Frisco and start at 6 and 8 respectively. In coaching changes, Utah has fired Larry Krystoyak from the program after 5 straight seasons missing the NCAA tournament. He had served in the role since 2011. And reports have surfaced but have not been confirmed that Iowa State has honed in on UNLV's basketball coach TJ Otzelberger as its next head coach. Good enough. In awards, Baylor's 3-headed guard set was honored yesterday as Jared Butler, Davion Mitchell, and Maceo Teague have all been named AP All-Americans, with Jared Butler being named a first-team All-American. And for religious reasons, if BYU is to make the Sweet 16, it will not play on Sunday, March 28th, and its schedule will be altered to adhere to the program. On the women's side, Sherry Cole is out as Oklahoma's head coach, announcing her retirement today after 25 seasons and 3 Final Fours. She won 6 regular season titles in the Big 12 and was one of Kim Mulkey's earliest and fiercest competitors. She's only 56 years old. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm, welcome home.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new, pre-owned Bird Culchin Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership. Online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culchin Ford.
The holidays are here, and I have a simple question for you. Will you weigh as much more or less than you do right now when the holidays are over? Why not end the year in better shape than when you started and create momentum for 2021? Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has numerous options for stocking stuffer gifts with gift cards for gym or tennis membership, fitness merchandise, tanning, massage, tennis lessons, and personal training. Perhaps a gift for a client, a family member, or a friend. You just need to walk through the front door to change your life. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. Spacious, clean workout room, free weights, Cybex cardio equipment, and no intimidation. A tremendous camaraderie and family atmosphere. So get the best and healthiest Christmas gift you can for someone or yourself. It's time to react today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll for a Baylor take on your lunch break.
Welcome back into the Pickell and Low T Bears Den. Happy Wednesday, folks. Phone lines are open at 254-339-1122. G-Dub, if you still exist out there in the sphere and you have a phone to call us, do it right now, 254-339-1122.
Yeah,
I promised G-Dub that I would get to him at like 11:40, and it is 1:44.
I mean, good things take time. G-Dub's a loyal caller at this point. I mean, loyal caller as of 2 weeks. He always calls with great stuff, too. It's always a good topic. Good stuff to talk about. We have a lot of great callers, actually. Like, the myriad of loyal, up-tempo callers is absolutely phenomenal. Big fan. Huge fan. Also, Armstrong Minute. I'm just going here. The Armstrong Minute, one more sleep till March Madness.
You like that?
That was awesome. I love that. That got me goosebumps. Also, did y'all already dress St. Patrick's Day? Happy St. Patrick's Day?
No. I don't think anybody wanted to.
Why not?
I wore a little bit of green. I think it's the most pointless holiday.
I wore green.
I think it has more of a point than like.
Hey, I just tweeted
Valentine's
a video
Day.
that'll help you explain it for you.
What?
It's VeggieTales video.
It's about a saint. It's like about a saint.
Yeah, we play it.
It's like 9 minutes long. You should just go watch it.
How did you retweet a 9-minute video?
I didn't retweet it. I copied the YouTube link
We got time.
And posted it.
We got plenty of time. Is that a copyright issue?
Yes.
I'm sure there'd be something there.
That's a copyright issue. But
I think it actually has a point, doesn't
if you actually want to find out, like, a legit is good explanation and also funny.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, made for kids, obviously, but.
Sure. Well, I mean, explain it to me like I'm 5.
Yeah, no, it will.
Yeah. From The Office when he goes,
Yeah,
explain to me
yeah,
like I'm 5.
yeah, I know.
Okay, now I'm next summer when you get more money from your lemonade. I'll be 6. Good stuff, man.
But he's like a missionary and stuff, so.
Good stuff, good stuff.
Missionary.
All right, you got one upset to pick in this whole deal. What's it going to be?
Only one?
You get one, and it can't be like a 10 and a 7 seed.
Well, I'll tell
Have you followed G-Dub on Twitter?
Virginia Tech's.
I think so.
I just followed him. I
Oh,
didn't realize
really?
I wasn't following
I think
him.
Virginia Tech's.
I thought I was like, I
losing
might not be.
Immediately.
You think so? Okay.
After that video they posted.
Dude, yeah,
There's
that was
no
such.
way.
That was like. Can we all agree that was like kind of poor form?
That was so bad.
That was just tacky.
The field hates
very
Virginia. All my
tacky.
homies hate Virginia Tech now.
There's no way they win after that.
No, there's just not
Tough
a
deal.
There's I want them to lose really badly.
Yeah, I would definitely be cheering.
Honestly
against
though, Colgate posted, "Oh, will you go to the university?"
Colgate. I believe in Colgate.
You believe in Colgate?
Dude,
That's your
Patriot
upset
League.
pick? I've got a video
Toothpaste.
that we can play. That
I don't hate that
So
at
here's
all.
the deal: Colgate posts. Can you find their tweet? I'm so sorry.
try.
Colgate posts a thing about that's Barstool. Colgate posts a thing on their Twitter page that's like, "Hey, at whoever, can you tell us what I don't know what is it called? Somebody beat
hard to tell at this
Arkansas.
point.
Somebody random beat Arkansas a long time ago, and Colgate tweet Lehigh.
I don't know.
No, it wasn't Lehigh.
They got
Colgate
upset in the tournament though.
Colgate tweets at them, and they were like, "Hey, can you help? Can you give us some tips? Because Arkansas lost a Cinderella game in 2006, right?
Okay.
So then Arkansas's response was like, "Can you give us tips?" And they were like, "I don't know if anybody responded, but like, the team Colgate
Yeah.
tweets the final score of that game, and it's like, "Hey, at school that I think it was like Boston, Bucknell."
Oh yeah, another Patriot League team.
Bucknell.
Another Patriot League team.
Bucknell. They beat them, right? So they tweeted it, and they're like, "Hey, give us any tips." And Arkansas was like, it's kind of like, if you're Arkansas, it's fuel to your fire.
Right.
Right. Well, Arkansas didn't respond with a clap back necessarily. Also, why can't I find this?
Maybe they deleted it.
They
Maybe
might
were
have
with you
deleted
and they're
it.
like, this was a dumb idea.
Honestly, I think they deleted it. They couldn't have deleted that. You're actually kidding me right now. They posted Arkansas, the University of Arkansas basketball's Twitter page, posted a video of a voicemail that they were left by a random person in January. Mind you, they were really bad at basketball there for a little bit, like horrendously bad at basketball for a bit. And the video, the guy just leaves a voicemail. It's like, "Hey, I'm looking for somebody with Arkansas basketball team. Oh wait, I forgot. Y'all don't have one. This is the most piss poor. I mean, I can't even believe it. I don't even know how you guys call yourselves a basketball school. You're an embarrassment to this state." It's a voicemail the guy left to the University of Arkansas basketball program in January, and which is just such very.
That was such a beautiful accent.
That's how I used to talk.
I could listen to that all day.
Really?
Sounds good.
At least for 3 hours, at least.
Yeah, I could do it for 3 hours. I could do that for
But wait, so I'm confused. They just
fine.
posted this like as an independent standalone tweet, or they posted this?
It's
in
an
response
independent
to a
standalone
Colgate
tweet, but like the Colgate tweet is one of those like, "Oh, we're going to motivate our team" kind of things.
Okay.
And then Arkansas's response of like, "You know what? We're going to motivate ourselves, but not by adding you. We're not going to at you, Colgate. We're going to motivate ourselves by posting this voicemail this hick left us a while back that says you suck. And look at us now. How do you like me now? Now that I'm on my way."
Those seem unaffiliated.
Can we get copyrighted?
We're fine. We're fine. We are sort of around the law.
They did. Arkansas changed their name on Twitter to 3-seed Arkansas Razor basketball.
Yeah,
That's
they have
funny.
a great Twitter account.
But I mean, if you're Colgate, like I kind of get it. If you're like, it's more tacky if you're Virginia Tech and you're at a Power 5 school and you're posting stuff like that. If you're at a Patriot League school, this is your one shot to be able to like have some shine, have some relevance on social media. So whoever has the unpaid internship to run the Colgate basketball Twitter account, this is their shot, and they just absolutely swung and missed. But I get it. You get one shot. You aim small, miss small.
One shining. You get one shining moment if you're the champion of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. Colgate will have no shining moments. Maybe they'll have a little bit of a shimmer.
You think? Do you
I
think
think
they're going to beat Arkansas?
I think they'll make a run in the game itself. I don't know if they'll beat Arkansas.
Arkansas
but
basketball
I don't hate
Twitter.
that pick. I don't hate that pick if they beat them.
What about it?
It's great.
It's a good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they pay their person. Probably Colgate's is like the ops guy.
Honestly,
that's
though,
trying to figure it
no.
out.
Colgate's got a pretty good Twitter. But
you think they have someone running it, or you think it's ops?
Yeah, they got somebody. I think they got somebody. They got an SID. They have an SID that's running it. For sure.
Really?
Colgate's got an SID. Yeah, I think her name's Sarah.
But is their SID running the Twitter?
Yeah. I would assume their SID is probably running Twitter.
Let's DM them.
Who? The
Colgate.
Twitter account?
Say, who are you?
Sarah. Yeah, her name's
Sarah
Sarah.
and Colgate.
Her email is out there. You can find it. See, prom was fired. I was trying to find a tweet that I tweeted at a guy the other day that I was really like, I loved Jay Billis tweets, fun fact, 1 seeds are 139-1 against 16 seeds. UMBC Athletics comments, this is news to us. That's good.
Okay, see, that's good. That's like what Colgate should have tried to like find some leverage, and they just did not at all. Like, good for UMBC, because I guarantee that person's not getting paid either. They're making it work. You know what I really like this year is a 2 over a 15. Oh, sorry, you were going to say something.
Oh, I was just going to say the UMBC Twitter account in 30 years we'll still be talking about that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you should. You have all the ammo you need forever. For the rest of time, that's all you need. But history does tell us every 5 or so years, a 2 beats a 15. I could see
there were two. There were 2 in 1 year. Was it Missouri and Norfolk State? The same year as maybe, I don't know, was it Duke and Lehigh? I think it was Duke and Lehigh and Missouri Norfolk State the same season. Yeah. Can't confirm that. Michigan State lost to Middle Tennessee State. You have 2 of them? Two's a
I
lot.
think 2 could happen. Well, you just said 2 happened in that one tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So it could happen. I don't think they'll be 2. I think I could see a couple of these going a different way. Houston, Cleveland State, we talked about. Grand Canyon in Iowa, we talked about. Both of those, I'm really thinking one is going to happen. Both, probably not. One, I might have both of those in my bracket, actually. I'm feeling good, man.
Armstrong Sims tweets, it's Hartford Hate Week. You're awful. I freaking love Hartford now. After having
I stand behind that tweet.
After having Adam Singer
I stand
on,
behind all my tweets.
I don't know.
Hartford hate kind of rolls off the tongue.
It rolls right off the tongue.
It does roll off the tongue.
Hartford
I don't
hate
hate Hartford, though. It's Hartford. Like,
no,
you
don't hate Hartford.
Before I got into this,
No.
I hate the city of Hartford, Connecticut, because it probably is the worst place ever.
Yeah.
Really?
Second part,
Amen.
probably.
That's where the ESPN headquarters is, pretty sure.
Bristol,
Connecticut.
The second part of that, I think Hartford's the capital of Connecticut, isn't it? Pretty sure it is.
Yes.
It is.
What was I going to say?
There it is. I was looking at this tweet the whole time.
Prior to Adam Singer coming on, Hartford Hate Week, full go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Having Adam Singer on, I'm like,
all right.
Okay, well, if they covered, I wouldn't be so mad.
So I
know.
tweeted, it's a tough hot take, but the following teams will not win March Madness. Iowa, Michigan, Illinois, Gonzaga, Baylor.
Name those teams again. Iowa, Michigan, Baylor.
Illinois, Gonzaga, Baylor.
You don't think any of those win the Final Four?
I
or make the
tweeted
Final
that
Four?
after I took a shower. I took a really hot, long shower.
Good.
And I was like, something came over me and said, water. And said, these 5 teams, I saw an angel.
You had a premonition.
Said, these 5 teams will not win March Madness. It's just the way it's going to go. It's just the way the March goes. I immediately stepped out of the shower, texted Armstrong before drying off. I hope you're prepared for Baylor to not make it all the way. And Armstrong's response was like, oh, I so am. Yeah. Just because everyone should be mentally prepared that their team will not win March Madness. Expect your team to not make the Final Four. So when they do, it's that much better. You're an underdog. I want to take on the underdog mentality, right?
I'm thinking about what you just said. I'm processing if I agree or not.
Okay.
I think that kind of would suck if you just think your team's never going to win. Like,
I don't know. Well,
is that fun? Like, that's not being.
These are just bold shower thoughts, okay?
Bold shower.
You know that's just how it goes.
I'm with that. I don't know if I agree. I have to think a little bit more about if those 5 teams. I think one of those has a shot to win. I think
they all have shots.
But I'm saying I would probably put my money over those 5 or the field. I'm taking those 5.
Speaking of shots, 100%. I'm not throwing away my shot. So speaking of, that's a segue into this. Some guy with the Twitter handle Hercules Mulligan. Get it? What's that from?
Hercules Mulligan?
Yeah.
Golf.
It's like a Greek god.
No, it's Hamilton. Hercules Mulligan in Hamilton. Nobody's seen Hamilton.
I've seen it once.
Nope.
Hercules Mulligan comments, I suggest cooler showers. And then I responded with, come again? ?
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the most famous lines is Hercules Mulligan, come again?
Okay.
Super famous line.
I haven't seen it.
I don't.
So then Hercules
I have
Mulligan.
seen it, but there's a good reason why I wasn't paying attention.
Hercules Mulligan responds with, you said it was a hot take based on a thought you had in the shower. After I said come again.
So Hercules Mulligan just didn't get it.
He didn't get it. Then I responded to that with, it was a Hamilton reference. You need to rise up.
I get that. I get.
What is that? Is that from Hamilton as well?
You haven't seen it? I think you'd like it.
Is it a good? You said it's kind of like a rap.
Yep. That's why I think you'd like it.
Yeah. I do like that.
I didn't actually like it.
My dad hated it.
Wait, so you didn't like it. Your dad hated it.
My dad didn't go.
But I think you would like it.
My dad refused to go.
I didn't like it. I respect it, though. I think it's well made.
Rise up.
It's good. Well, yeah, I respect it.
Okay.
I just didn't personally enjoy it.
I like this banter. I feel like the folks at home might not be as in touch with the conversation we're having, but I like this conversation.
I don't even feel in touch with the conversation we're having.
Really?
But I do like it. I
personally like the dialogue that's taking place.
No, I like it. I want to watch Hamilton.
Right.
Hercules Mulligan have like a lot of followers? Sorry,
No.
you were going to say something.
No, I was just going to say I think you'd like it.
Okay.
Hercules Mulligan has 100 followers.
Okay.
May listen to the show. It's a Baylor fan.
Okay.
It's a Baylor fan.
Maybe.
Wasn't a very big fan of big fan of my take. Celebrity birthday!
The bell is broken.
That wasn't supposed to happen. There's a paper in it.
Hey.
Celebrity birthday!
Nice.
There you go.
Tamar Braxton. Heck yeah, man. R&B singer. Pew, pew.
No idea. What song does he sing?
44. It's a woman. Rob Kardashian.
Ooh, I'm going to say he is 36.
80 and 36. 34.
There you go.
JD is closer.
I don't know who this is.
Rob Lowe.
Kim's dad.
Rob Lowe.
Kim's dad is, what's his name? His name is Caitlyn, but
Bruce
prior to
Jenner.
that, Bruce Jenner. Yeah.
Rob Lowe. Not going there.
Oh my
We're
gosh.
done. Yeah. Stick to Jim Boeheim jokes.
Right.
Stick to Jim Boeheim
too
jokes.
far, but oh man.
Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe.
Forgotten about that.
Buddy from
Can you call it
Parks and Rec.
Can you say dad anymore?
No, stop. Rob Lowe, how old is he?
Kim Kim have a father?
I'm going to say 54.
No father.
Actually, no, 48.
How old's Rob Lowe?
I'm going to say 48.
56.
57. How old's Hosier?
He's that old?
He ages well.
However,
30.
thinking
say 32.
bad way that already know. 31. Kurt Russell.
Wow.
Kurt Russell, hurry.
Oh, I'm going to say 63.
Nope.
Probably a little younger.
Nope. Not 59.
70. Mia Hamm.
Wow. I did not expect that.
Mia Hamm or Maya Hamm. I don't know which
Mia
one it is.
Hamm. It's Mia Hamm. She's a
55.
former UNC soccer player.
Okay. Hurry.
I don't know.
55.
No. 30.
She's a USA soccer
49. 49.
She's the
Nat
GOAT.
King
I know,
Cole.
but I just
The
never
legendary
caught it.
Christmas singer Nat King Cole.
Dead.
Hundo.
Hundo and dead. 102.
102. Oh, okay. There we go.
Kyle Korver. Last one.
Ooh, give me 31.
Okay. Not remotely close.
47.
40.
It's easy when you're asking the questions.
Okay, this day in sports history,
Yeah,
British
it's true.
high jump champion Marshall Jones Brooks clears 1.83 meters at Oxford, England to unofficial world record, thought to be the first leap over 6 feet.
Over 6 feet. Okay, I'm going to go like
1924.
1867.
1876. British boxer Bob Fitzsimmons KOs American champion gentleman Jim Corbett in the 14th round to win world heavyweight title in Carson City, Nevada.
2020.
2020.
1900.
1897. So you were close.
Right there. I'm right there in it.
Wales beats France 16-9 at Millennium Stadium, Cardiff, to wrap up the Grand Slam and win the Six Nations Rugby Championship. Welsh fullback Leigh Halfpenny kicks 3 penalties and a conversion in what year?
2020.
Why were the Wales playing rugby?
2012. French Open becomes the first Grand Slam tennis tournament to be postponed due to COVID-19 pandemic. Moves from May 24th to June 7th.
2020.
To September 20, October 4th. Conflicts with Laver Cup men's team event. What year?
2020.
2020.
15.
You said 2015.
You said COVID pandemic, I thought.
It was actually 20. Oh, you know what time it is.
Wait, was it 2020?
Later, guys.
Hey,
What was
I'm
it?
Drake Toll.
What was
2020.
it?
Drake
Oh,
Toll,
yeah.
Armstrong, Sims, J.D. Pickell. This right here, all of it, every bit of it, has been up-tempo. Come back tomorrow. We got an all-star guest list. Matthew Postins does not join the show, but CJ Moore does from The Athletic. So does Jason King. We're going to have Feinstein. We're going to have everybody. If you can dream it, you can be it. This today has been up-tempo all day long, folks. This is up-tempo. Goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.